which lead the global. These are called as the global leaders. In out of first 10 companies, Indian 3 to 4 companies are in the first 10 in the tech industry. So industry is also one of the major setback during the 2.5 years of the pandemic, and we are slowly now recovering from this pandemic, and we have to overcome all the challenges. If you see the health sector again, if you take the example during the pandemic, the health sector, India get adapted within a short time of span, and it was very difficult task for provide the medical aids to the 138 crore population. It is a very big population. It accounts more than 20% population of the globe, and we are not that much sustainable. We are not that much economically sound to provide the aids. But even though the leaders in the vaccination productions, we can salute to Bharat Biotech. We can salute to the Poonawala from Pune. Both this company, they are the leader in the Covaxin and the Covishield. Entire globe has to salute them, because in the minimum 150 rupees or 130 rupees per dose they are providing the vaccine, and not only for India, for rest of the poor world also. And that's why the health industry, like a very good health industry, and paramedical staff and medical staff across the country, not only in the government organization, but the private organization also, they work together in hands and hands. They are work together, and they can overcome the challenges of the COVID. And India is not a major India don't have the major setback in terms of the health of the people of the Indian continent. They have overcome this by providing the vaccination, providing the medical aid, providing the whatever best possible manner our country facing the challenges of the health during the COVID pandemic. Then the employment is just I told that the India is not the country to provide the employment for the needy people like the China, because they have the major manufacturing hub, and a lot of opportunities were there, and that's why the employment is also major sector in India, which affects by the COVID pandemic. So there are lots of eras, lots of sectors, like from banking to the employment, so many sectors major hit during this COVID pandemic. So I congratulate the organizers to take that opportunity to conduct such type of national seminar, national workshop on the Indian economy. So Indian economy is now slowly moving forward, but till there is a hurdle, still we have to overcome the hurdle of the Indian economy, and that's why every Indian should be proud for the India. And in coming future, within a short time of time, we are crossing the 5 trillion economy. It is the goal of our Prime Minister of India, and we hope that we can definitely overcome this challenge ahead of the Indian economy. So even though there is a impact of the COVID-19, but still we are sustainable to overcome all the issues related to the economy. And it is very difficult to overcome the issues of 138 crore population, and then we have to make the one of the stand in the global scenario. And I think we are succeeded, even though in the Ukraine-Russia war, the world is watching. India's in the world is now slowly moving ahead, and India is a progressive country, and it is a great nation ahead with the various development and etc. So once again, I can congratulate all the participants. I can congratulate all the organizers, especially the Balchandraji Chavan, Jadhav sir, and Sarang sir, and Gajbiye, all the organizing members of this committee. And it is my best wishes to the rest of the deliberation of the Ashok Chakrawal sir and RJ Alagi sir, So all the participants should interact. The interaction should be there. There should not be monotonous monotonous workshop. Whatever your ideas, whatever your queries, whatever your thoughts, you have to share with the exchange mode, and then only this team will definitely helpful for the academia. So thanks once again. I congratulate once again all the people of the Patpanhale Education Society, and my sincere thanks to the Balchandri Chavan.
Hello. Thank you, Honorable Dr. Sanjay Jagtap sir, for your valuable insights on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. It will be a great pleasure for us to listen to you again in our future events. Thank you once again, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, let us move ahead with the first plenary session of this National E-Conference. For this plenary session, we have with us the next distinguished resource person of the day, Dr. R.G. Alagi. May I request Professor Dr. K.R. Sindhe to introduce the first resource person to our esteemed participants of the National E-Conference. Over to Professor K.R. Sindhe. Sir, please.
Respected Dr. Sanjay Jagtap sir, respected Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval sir, respected Dr. R.G. Alagi sir, Honorable Bhalchandra Chavan sir, Principal Dr. R.J. Jadhav sir, all the fellow participants in this national conference, my fellow colleagues and students. Now I, Dr. K.R. Sindhe, Associate Professor in Accountancy, feel proud in introducing Dr. R.G. Alagi sir, the respected resource person of today's national conference. Dr. R.G. Alagi sir, born in Bijapur of Karnataka state, completed his M.Com in costing from Karnataka University, Dharwad in 1976. He completed his PhD from Karnataka University, Dharwad on financial and operational viability of small state units in open region, a study of Bagalkot district. He completed his MPhil degree from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Sir has worked as lecturer and professor for 34 years and as principal for over 5 years. He also has worked as a coordinator for PG course, that is M.Com, and also BBA for 4 years. He has also experience of working as editor-in-chief, BIMS International Research Journal of Management and Commerce online. Sir has published a number of research papers in national and international research journals and also co-authored a number of books. He also worked as member on peer team committee NAC Bangalore and visited Nagaland, Maharashtra, West Bengal and Goa states. Presently, he is working as a director, Basveshwar Vidyavardhak Sangh's Institute of Management Studies, Bagalkot, Karnataka state. Sir has a number of awards to his credit. They include Lifetime Achievement Award for Higher Education by Pearl Foundation, Madurai, Tamil Nadu. Government of Karnataka Award by District Administration in the field of higher education, etc. He has also given programs in All India Radio and Doordarshan on a number of subjects. In addition to this, he is a life member of Kannada Sahitya Parishad, Lingayat Education Board, Dharwad, life member of Commerce Students Association, Karnataka University, Dharwad, Commerce Teachers Association, Dharwad, life member of ISKCON, Bangalore. He has more than 40 years of experience in teaching and administrative fields. Sir, I hereby request you to start your speech. Dr. R.G. Algi, sir, please. Algi, sir, please. Sir, is my voice audible to you?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Please continue, sir.
What happened, Dr. Siddesh, sir?
Hello, sir.
Continue.
Okay.
Just a minute ago, Dr. Algi sir were there.
Is it the time of Dr. Algi, sir?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
बोला sir.
Yes.
Whether Dr. Algi, sir, is connecting?
Yeah,
I think
connecting.
yes.
He is connecting, sir.
Hmm.
But there is some problem. Connect.
Algi sir, are you there? Algi sir, are you there?
Yes, Algi sir joining now.
Hello,
Algi, sir, are you there?
Dr. Argi sir, are you there? Can you listen to me? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir, you can continue.
Hello,
Hello.
madam.
Yes, sir. Continue,
Yes, sir.
please, sir.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay, sir, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Continue, sir, please.
Yeah. I'm happy to see the president of the management. Namaste, sir.
Nice. How are you? Surprised? Looking so pretty today.
Just now I heard the keynote speech of Dr. Sanjay Jagtap, a regional director,
Need to be developed.
higher education, Konkan region,
Conference
Panvel.
international.
It was really wonderful, thought-provoking.
Rocking.
Aga,
Dr. Jadaji, you are one.
Unmute, sir. Unmute, please.
Yeah. I hope it is audible now. Sir, it is audible.
Yes,
yes, sir. You are
Yes, sir,
audible,
yes, sir, you're audible. No
Yeah.
problem.
The
Please go
president
ahead.
of the management and Dr. Jagtap, Dr. Jadhav, all the members of Patpanhale Arts, Commerce and Science College. Really, I'm very happy to take part in this one-day national level conference, and Dr. Jadhav and all his colleagues, they have made wonderful efforts for the last 2 months. And just now, after hearing Dr. Jagtap's speech. I was so happy. He has given, he has thrown the light on every aspect of the impact of COVID. And now I am the director of BVV Sangha's Institute of Management Studies. You have heard about my introduction. And I am in the field of commerce for the last 46 years. And now I would like to have my own ideas, thought regarding the impact of COVID-19. Introduction. Screen sharing. Yeah.
Hello?
Madam, it's clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your voice is audible.
The screen is coming on the screen, the details.
Not yet, sir.
That is 1 minute. 1 minute, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can take your time.
Share the screen. Introduction. It's clear,
Yes,
madam?
sir. Yes, sir. Now it's clear, sir.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
sir.
You see, though I may be 46 in the field of commerce education, but I'm not well versed with the technology that is changing every now and then. I have to
No
depend
issues,
upon.
sir.
I have to depend upon like madam.
You
Anyway,
don't disturb.
I'm very proud.
Professor Sabre, you don't disturb.
Okay. Now let me come to the introduction part. First, I want to make it very clear. Dr. Jagtap has touched every item, every field, every sector that has affected the world as well as the Indian economy. Now, first, I want to tell you in my introduction, my age is 70. This type of pandemic never heard, never seen before. It was so vast, so horrible and unimaginable setback of the economy. I think we used to hear from our parents during 1930s and before that also. Such troubles were there in the country. They used to call in Kannada Sajjivara, like that. But this type of pandemic I never heard earlier. So this is the first time the government, that's why only it is sustaining. And I visited America, I visited Germany, I visited Switzerland, I visited France. Such big countries, they could not sustain. They could not sustain. And it is only India, I think probably our principles of country, our yoga, our historical background has made to adjustable to such a pandemic position. And I think probably we never heard of the loss of lives like this, unstable health conditions in every country. You see, if you look at the America, such a vast, widespread area, not like our slums in Mumbai, not like slums in Bangalore, not like slums in Chennai, not like slums in other big metros. Such a vast country, such a big country, they could not adjust. Take the example of Italy. Take the example of Spain. Big industrialist, the hotel industrialist, I think probably what I have read in the paper, what I have heard in the media, all the members of the family died. At the end, the owner, proprietor, fell down from the upstairs of the hotel to the footpath and died. Not because that he was not having money. He had money, He had wealth, he had whatnot, but he felt that nothing is the life. He lost all the kith and kins. He lost all dependents. Ultimately, he decided to die. Loss of lives, unstable health conditions, everywhere in the world, it was a common phenomena. And that is why every country, they cannot depend on any other country, because as already Dr. Jagtap told it very clear, 2 years we did not have international transport at all. Therefore, whatever they want, they have to procure themselves. The mantra that is especially in India, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, Atmanirbhara. Atmanirbhara is such a policy which has succeeded in India in the world level also. And therefore, according to Atmanirbhara, most of the entrepreneurs, most of the academicians, most of the teachers, most of the students, they did very well. And I think probably common feature that we could observe, sitting at home for more than 30 months, no moment, no entertainment, no cultural enjoyments, no literary programs. It was the common problem everywhere. Otherwise, our life will become worst, and therefore we depended more on the government only for the peace and law and order. And from another important factor that we could observe is that money cannot do anything. Money cannot do anything. I think one statement is quite needed at this juncture. Money can buy medicines, but not the health. Money can buy the bed, but not the sleep. Money can buy the wealth, house, but not the home, environment. Like that, COVID-19 has taught us, everybody, money's role is insignificant, and money cannot do anything. Only health, the government can do anything and everything. And from the introduction, I want to make it everything is clear that COVID-19 has brought unwanted, unhealthy, and most precarious positions in the country as well as in the world. Now I want to tell the impact of the COVID-19 on our industry. And I think probably the Prime Minister of India, Panditji Jawaharlal Nehru, made importance first for the irrigation, next for the industry. Industries were developed. I think Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru used to tell that industries are the modern temples. Industries are the modern temples, and therefore he gave the top priority for the industrial sectors. But though he started big industries, though he started medium scale industries, and subsequent governments made a lot of efforts, but COVID-19 brought miserable setbacks in the industry. All the labor class, they have to rush to their natives. And all the workers, they have to lose their jobs. All the entrepreneurs, all the owners, all the chairmen, all the top management, they had no other alternative other than lockouts, other than the closures. And therefore, COVID-19 pandemic destroyed all interlinkages between the global world. And I think probably you know very well, most of the engineers, doctors, skilled employees, They have to sit at home and work for the organizers, for the employers. Of course, but this was not possible in case of international employees. They could not come to India, nor Indian employees working from other countries. They could not go to their countries. It was a very tough job. And therefore, the COVID-19 could not run the industries, and especially whatever that they were needed, especially in case of India, food items and other sophisticated items. And therefore, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji initiated Atmanirbhara, and accordingly the AICT and other the big institutions controlling the educational institutions in India, they have made it very possible. And I think probably I can give you PPE kits. PPE kits, they were not at all in the minds of any industrialist in India. N95 masks, they were not at all in the minds of the industrialist, because this type of COVID effects were there in Japan earlier, and they have got some smell at least. But we didn't have any such environments in India. But of course, Indian entrepreneurs. Any trouble? Any trouble, Jadhav ji?
No, sir. No, sir. Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
sir.
personal protection kits, they were not at all in India, and N marks were not at all there in India. But by March 2020, we ensured that 2 lakhs of such PPE kits and 2 lakhs of N95 masks per day. And within 2 months, we were in a position to send it to foreign countries. And therefore, leave aside all those industries. Most of our all cement or construction or any other industry all stopped because of COVID-19. And I think probably the progression of every country depends upon the GDP. The GDP of that country is more important. And I think probably, as I've already told you, that advanced countries like USA, USSR, Germany, France, they could not survive at all. Whereas India, though we are not at the particular race, but still then, because of the drastic remedial measures taken by our politicians, administrators, our economy was stable. And I think probably, as already Jagtap sir told, that Covishield and Covaxin manufacturers, they did remarkable, wonderful the victory. That is the honor to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister visited both the industrialists, and now we are in a position to, we have given all the entire biggest population in the world. We have given 2 doses, and even after 60 years of age, we are giving booster dose. This is not possible even in America, because I heard from the people, my relatives who are there in America, they are not in a position to give. It is possible only because Indian determination, Indian administration, and big 2 industrial giants, they did remarkable progress. That is very, very important. And apart from that, the coronavirus has largely affected the growth of every country, which is for that GDP has gone down. And also, for your information, the small countries are also like Korea and other big industrial countries. I think probably I can give just now, the tourism industry has hit it very badly. That is true. But even in India also, I think the most important states like Kerala, Jammu and Kashmir, they do depend only on the industry like tourism. In the entire world, Switzerland is the country which is most dependent on tourism. And therefore, the tourism industry, major industry, minor industry, or Mediclaim or Medicare health products, they have been produced by the government of India with the support of the government. And even then, in spite of these, our revenue, our sales, our other growth position has fallen down to 4.7% in the third quarter of 2020, and gradually it is improving now in the present situation. And now everywhere inflation, the rates have gone like anything. I think the best example is the petrol, the diesel. Of course, the petrol and diesel, the hike has gone only not because of this COVID. Other factors are also responsible. And I think probably the best reason is you can just see the position of Sri Lanka is worst. The position of Bangladesh also not good. The position of Pakistan also not good. I think it is the indirect impact of the inflation and also COVID-19. And because of the drastic the problems in the prices of the raw materials, because of the closure of the industries, because of the setback of the industries, no import, no export. Neither we can export nor we can import any required materials, at least because of this pandemic. And other products like gold, sanitizers, smartphones, medicines, consumable durables, all such goods rates have gone to sky. And therefore, it is very difficult for a common man to go for such goods. Of course, smartphones, they need not go for that. Gold, not required for them. Even then, the human nature is like that. And the aviation sector, I hope you know very well, all the aviation sector of the world, I think it has gone to the worst position. And even in India, you know very well, the government Air India organization is sold again to Tata. So this is the reason that that inflation has severely affected the Indian economy, and therefore indirectly it is the impact on the whole world. And share market, I hope you are aware of the fact that the stock exchange, the share market depends upon the Sensex and Nifty, and it has affected very severely because of the COVID-19. And once it has declined to 8,000 points in a month. And as on 12th March 2020, share market investors have lost approximately 33 lakhs crores of rupees in a month. And you just imagine how worstly it has affected. And I give the example of one hotel industrialist, that is that they could not leave or they could not run the show for the future. And now another most important glaring example is tourism sector. I think Dr. Jagtap made it very clear. This is the industry which has severely affected. I quoted the example of Switzerland. In Switzerland, you don't find any other industry other than tourism. It's a very small country without having its own defense people. The tourism sector is very, very popular in Switzerland. And there, I think probably now the livelihood of the people depends upon the tourists they come to such countries. The same examples we can find in Jammu and Kashmir, same example we can find in Kerala. Same examples we can find in coastal Karnataka. The same example we can find in coastal Kerala, where the health hospitality tourism is very popular. Health, hospitality, tourism. And millions of people, they have lost their jobs because of the COVID. And tourism has severely affected. It was contributing more than 7% to the annual GDP. Now it is not possible. It is because of COVID. I think probably few days back only, all international that planes, flights have been started by the big aviation companies. And the restrictions due to the second wave have crippled the tourism sector very seriously. And therefore, it has to be encouraged by the government only, then only it may come to limelight. And the aviation and travel sector has already again just now referred that pandemic has affected very severely on aviation and travel sector. And I think probably, as I quoted, the best example of Switzerland, very small, very tiny country. And even you can take the example of Dubai, you can take the example of Malaysia. They do depend more on tourism, but the tourism was totally banned during this pandemic. And now real estate and the construction sector, I think probably in Bangalore, in HSR layout, one of the posh area, they were getting the 2 BHK for 80 to 1 crore. Now they have come down to 60 to 80 lakhs. It is only because that the impact of COVID-19 has severely affected the real estate business, construction sector. Construction sector, what I want to tell you, all the people from urban places, they have rushed to the other places. They have become the rural people. They are not in a position to go back to their workplaces, and they don't want to face the challenges in this pandemic situation. And I think probably this is another important area where the pharmaceuticals, especially in the USA, this field is much more popular than the even medical education. The pharmaceuticals, I think probably are one of the popular industrial area, which is to dictate the role to other industries. But whereas the pharmaceutical industry has been totally affected, especially in India, because it is the largest producer of generic drugs globally, with a market size of $55 billion during the beginning of 2020. It has been suffering, and it is exporting the drugs like hydroxychloroquine to the whole world, especially to United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and Middle East. But now it is very, very tough for Indian pharmaceutical people. But anyway, this Covaxin and Covishield, both are manufactured in India, and that too big support of Indian government. And the most important affected sector is education sector. I feel very bad because since 1976, I started my career as a lecturer in commerce in 1976. And since 1976 to 2012, I'm a lecturer, I'm a professor, I'm the principal, and I know what is the value of education. And especially when I got the opportunities in big industries or big other organizations like RBI, I did not join because I found education is the best service sector in the entire world. And therefore, I switched on and strictly adhered for education services. But when the COVID affected severely in 2019, I felt very bad about the children who are supposed to go to schools for the LKG, for the UKG, for the first standard. It was not possible. So it was not possible in 2019, 20, 21, and even in 22 also. I think, how can they understand the basics of education? How can they understand the alphabets? So this was my problem. I started thinking. So education sector has severely affected, even though the management may be rich, it is of no use. And various initiatives taken by HRD of the Government of India and other higher education departments of every state, that the position in education sector has severely affected in India. And of course, as I quoted my own example, I felt so bad about the school going children, LKG, UKG, first standard. How can they understand? By looking at this mobile, looking at this laptop, looking at this big screen. In spite of all these hurdles, the hurdles in education sector, that Government of India has encouraged so many new changes in the education field. And I think probably I can give the best example. E-Patashala was started by HRD minister, supported by, and I think it is lower strength 7 MB. Hello. I kindly request the organizers. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Jadhav, some disturbance is there from your end.
Yeah, sir. You continue, sir.
Yeah. E-Patashala, it is for first standard to 12th standard, and encouraged by MHRD. There are such 504 E-Patashala institutes and rendering wonderful education. But even then, as a teacher, as a professor, that E-Patashala coaching or any other improved method of coaching will not be like regular classroom environment. The second one, Diksha. Diksha is e-learning presentation. And again, here it is curriculum to the students and educators sent by online. And Swayam, this is another important 1900 different courses are run from that Swayam institutes, and therefore they are having wonderful changes. And again, here I want to tell you that this is encouraged by NCERT, that is National Council of Educational Research and Training. But what I want to tell you, the government might have made good efforts. And again, one more is EPG Patashala. EPG Patashala, that is, it is again improved by the Government of India through MHRD, through UGC, and NCERT has given instructions. What should be the content of the book? What should be the study materials? What should be the online courses? And how the evaluation is to be done? That's all done through EPG Patashala. And of course, as I told you, whatever it may be, it will not be like offline, and therefore, now I want to just throw some light on the positive effects or positive impact of this newly introduced structures. You see, blended learning has emerged. That means new technology, new style, new improvements, new additions, everything is there. But there is an absence of a personal touch. Even then, the educators, they felt that this new methodology has helped, and digital literacy has improved, definitely. It is fact, when we cannot go personally to the college, when we cannot go to personally to schools, when we cannot go to library, then only the digital literacy has to be encouraged. And better time management. The time management has been definitely given due respect, and allocation of the timing is also important, and ODL demand has increased. What is ODL here? Online and distance learning. Online and distance learning has been encouraged considerably. But in spite of all these positive plus points, there are negatives here, and those negatives are employment number has hampered. Most of the people, they have lost their jobs, and most of the people, they have lost their jobs, and they are in the villages, and therefore they are not in a position to continue the jobs. And the parents' responsibility has increased considerably more, because they are not happy with the online coaching, and therefore they have to depend more on offline coaching. And underprepared teachers, since this is the drawback of the education system, and that most of the teachers, they are not preparing as required for the personal classroom, and that is the worst part of the new system in the COVID, and therefore that's not appreciable. And the technology training has become a challenge, as I already have told you, in case of PPE kits, as regards to sanitizers, as regards mask. It is a great challenge to give the training in a very short, limited time. And accordingly, we being the Indians, we are in a position to adjust with the situation. I think probably I have thrown the light on education, I have thrown the light on tourism, I have thrown the light on real estate. And now I feel that then how to come out of this pandemic situation. And I think probably again the first wave, second wave, third wave. Now again we are hearing China is having very severe such cases. Korea is having such severe cases. And therefore, we being the Indians, what we have to do? What we have to go ahead with the situation. And for that, I being a teacher, I have given this conclusion, and whether it is wrong or right, already Dr. Datta has given very nice information, and so many other people are going to speak now. My conclusion is, that is, UNO, United Nations Organization, has to play a very important role, and so many restrictions may be, may not be, may be imposed on countries like China, USA, and USSR. Really, we feel very bad, we being such highly educated people. If we look at the war between the Russia and Ukraine, what a worst situation. You see, our Indian students, they went for medical education there. They come back with the bare hands because the prevailing conditions are worst there. And under such circumstances, the United Nations Organization, being the highest organization in this part, in this regard, they can have so many remedial discussions, and they must come to the conclusion. And even I feel that World Health Organization also can give the strict remedial measures for every country to maintain the good health conditions in all the countries. Of course, though it's very correct, but when I just had a glance, I stayed in America for 62 days, looking at the facility, looking at the area, looking at the population. They could have not faced any problem in COVID-19. But we being such a populous country like India, we have succeeded in giving the vaccines to entire population. And likewise, UNO, WHO, or even I think probably the heads of all the countries should come to the theme of Ramaraja, where everybody should be happy. For that, our mental setup, for that, our ideology, our thinking style must be changed. Otherwise, the Pakistan condition, the Sri Lankan condition, the Bangladesh condition, Ukraine condition will be common in every country. And therefore, it is really this college has done wonderful seminar, and they have organized. Dr. Jadavji requested me, I think 2 months ago. So ours is an interior college, and really more than 100 viewers are there, more than 70 papers have come, and Honorable Alok Kumar Chakrawal, he is very much busy in the parliament today, and anyway he has sent his paper. That paper will be read just now, and I think probably Dr. Jadhav and all the colleagues, they have taken wonderful steps to hold this one-day e-commerce seminar throughout the country, and that too impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy, and whatever that is possible from my end, I have presented. And I hope Dr. Jadhav or Madam Desai or whoever there, if any part of the discussion is left over, they can bring it to my knowledge, and I will put forth my efforts to give some more inputs. I hope it is enough. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Good day. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your deep knowledge about impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy with us. Your session was indeed full of enthusiasm and valuable knowledge. Sir, we rarely get this kind of opportunity to listen to the words of a great knowledgeable speakers like you. We are charged by your sharp fluency of the subject. Thank you once again, sir.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen and all participants, now we will have an interactive session on the address of the first resource person of the first plenary session of this national e-conference, that is Dr. R.G. Algi, sir. We will go ahead and take some time for questions now. I would like to remind all the participants that they are supposed to type their question in chat box only. If you have, you can ask also, but it is preferable that you should type it in a chat box only. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question?
If not, one of our staff members.
Sir, we will wait for a couple of minutes.
Sure.
Okay, sir.
And meanwhile, I'll send the details of the next paper presenter on
Okay.
behalf of Honorable Vice Chancellor. Honorable Vice Chancellor, due to his busy schedule, he is in Delhi, but
Yes,
he has
sir.
sent his paper, and that paper will be read by one of my colleague. He is Dr. Prakash K. Vadvadi. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll send the details. He
Yes,
is
sir. No problem, sir.
okay.
Me, sir.
If no one is going to ask question, one of my colleague is would like to ask question to you, sir. Hello.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. I would like to invite Dr. K.R. Sindhe to ask his question.
Sure.
Videos.
Hello, Namaste, sir.
Namaste, namaste.
I am Dr. K.R. Singh, the Associate Professor in the subject of accountancy in this college.
Yeah.
Sir, as we all know, millions of people died all over the world and lakhs together in India. And more than that, 1.2 lakh children become orphaned as a result of this unexpected pandemic.
Yeah.
They were deprived of having education in traditional mode, and they suffered a lot. Had there not been COVID, they would have got education in a traditional mode of education. So they suffered a lot. In the light of this, I wish to know from you, please, whether we can make good the loss suffered by them through human efforts like government schemes or assistance from the non-government organizations or philanthropic organizations. Though in English, a saying goes that what has been done cannot be undone. In spite of being so, I wish to know whether we can give justice to those innocent children who suffered a lot without any fault of their own. Please, I wish to know.
Dr. Sidde, I am really happy. This is really a very important, heart-touching question that you have raised. This can be overcome by the efforts of government and non-government organizations. Whatever that loss that has suffered to a kid during last 2 years, for example, LKG and UKG or UKG and first standard, both can be clubbed and again taught to the students in the regular mode in extra hours. For that, the commitment of the teacher, for that commitment of the parents equally required, then we can come out with the problem and solution can be given. Sure. And what you are, the thought that has come to your mind, you make it more meaningful and more meaningful to all the 100 people who have assembled today in your seminar. Really, the unimaginable loss that has occurred to a kid. We cannot, you see, what I have learned in my Kannada, what I have learned in ABCD, that we can't read only on the computer, on laptop or LCD. No. And that is why your problem really, it is worth raising, and you make a conclusion that this is to be brought to the notice of the higher authorities, and we have to see that again a coaching can be given in the 6 months of this year 2022 onwards. We can do it.
Thank you, sir. I am fully satisfied with the explanation given by you, sir. Thanks, sir.
Sir.
Jadhav ji, namaste, bolo.
Sir, namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Dr. Alagi, sir.
Namaste, bolo, sir, bolo. Tell me, sir. Sir.
Yes, sir. Principal, sir. You're audible.
Yeah.
Sir,
Dr. Jadhav ji,
Honorable Algi, sir, principal would like to say something.
Yes, let him, madam. I am here.
Yes. Hello, principal, sir.
Sindhe avare.
Hello. I think sir got disconnected.
It seems poor internet, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we should go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Bolo, Dr.
Hello?
Jadhav. Yeah.
Sir, what I think that the central government of our country
Yeah.
is not implementing effectively fiscal measures
Yeah.
to eliminate bad effects of COVID-19, sir. This is my
Sir,
opinion.
Dr. Jadhav, you make one resolution at the end of the day. The question raised by Jadhav, answer given by Alagi, and conclusion given by Jadhav, all are to be compiled. Write it to your regional education officer, write it to your state officer, send it to central government. Let us see. something, the best outcome is coming from your seminar. Okay, justification is to be made. The loss sustained by every kid of the country must be again regained. So you make a conclusion that at the end of the day and endorse it to the government of India.
Excuse me, sir.
That is, sir, comparing to private measures, that fiscal measures will be more effective in controlling the bad effects created by COVID pandemic, sir.
Sir,
Dr. Jadhav,
Jadhav,
if
sir,
you-
excuse me, sir. Sir,
yeah.
just I want to intervene. Myself, Dr. Prakash from Bagalkot. Sir, just I would like to highlight that India is the country which has, especially the government of India has taken a number of steps to overcome the bad effects of COVID. Okay. And the
Sir, my opinion is that
yes,
effective fiscal measures have not been implemented by the central government of this country to
yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes,
eliminate bad effects of
yes, yes, sir. The what my opinion
not
that
the general measures, sir, effective like
yes, yes,
taxation, public expenditure.
yes, sir.
So it is the responsibility of the central government to
Yes,
eliminate as
sir,
far as possible
yes, you are right, sir.
the
Is the
bad
responsibility of
effects of COVID pandemic.
yes, sir. You are
Hello,
right. Is the
sir.
responsibility of central government to take the measures to overcome with that, and effectively the central government has come up with the plans and handled it.
This is my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your opinion might be right, but when you come with the data, okay, India is the largest populated country in the world, and free of cost the vaccination, the societal concept, the free of cost the vaccinated n number of people to safeguard the lives of the people. That is one. Then the PLI scheme, production linked incentive schemes, have been launched by the Modi government to boost the economy, so that majority of the small scale industries, medium scale industries have taken over this PLI scheme. And instead of dying all otherwise, if the PLI scheme has not been launched by the government, the majority of the small scale and medium scale industries have died. And third one is the Atmanirbhar Bharata, that is which is the one of the most important, that is self-reliant India, which has been launched, because India is a country which is not producing a single mask or a PPE kit. It has started manufacturing of every day more than 5 lakhs. And like that, there are n number of without depending on other countries, the majority of the entrepreneurs came up and started there. And because of COVID, India, it is benefited, because the people have started, the lifestyle of the people has changed. Earlier, how many people have given importance for their health? Now after this, the majority of the people have given the importance of health. So like that, the COVID has given a lesson for the people like us. Okay, so that we have to learn the positive things, how it has impacted, because the country like India, where the population is very high, and the government alone can't do. The government will implement. Along with that, the people should also respond to that. Okay, the burden will be definitely will be there. The taxation, but immediately they can't reduce the taxation, because the taxation is the major revenue for the government. Because when they are taking the tax the same way, they are giving a free of cost vaccinations, then immediately the country, especially when the hospitalization. Okay, the medical field has affected a lot, because it is very difficult, especially in the second pandemic. The people are unable to get the beds, even the money, they are ready to pay the money, but they are unable to get the beds. And the countries like USA, USSR, China, majority of the countries has started asking help for the medicines from especially hydrochloroquine, paracetamol, especially like that. Yes, sir. a
Anyway,
disturbance.
Dr. Jadhav, you can make one resolution at the end of the day. The same can be sent. Okay.
Yes, sir, that is right.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. It look like we have covered up all the questions. After no more questions to Honorable Dr. R.J. Algi sir from the participants, I would like to declare that this first plenary session has come to an end here only. Thank you, respected Dr. Algi sir, for your thorough guidance on the present situation of COVID pandemic. Thank you, sir.
Namaste, management and principal and all the learned teaching staff.
Namaste, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
You can continue, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Let us move ahead with the second plenary session of this National E-Conference. With all our modesty, we wish to bring to the kind notice of all the participants that today Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval, sir, Vice Chancellor of Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalay, Bilaspur, State Chhattisgarh, was expected to speak as one of the resource persons, but due to some unavoidable reasons, he is not available for the today's conference with us. So on behalf of him, Dr. Prakash Wadwadgi sir is going to share the presentation of Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval sir as his substitute. Dr. Prakash
Okay, sir.
Wadwadgi sir is an associate professor from BVV Sang's Institute of Management Studies, Balkot. He has completed MPhil in Management from Mission University, Salem, and sir has also received PhD in Management from North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. He has total 21 years working experience. I consider it a great honor to request Dr. Prakash Wadwadgi sir to share the presentation of Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval sir with us. Over to Dr. Prakash sir.
Okay, my voice is audible, madam?
Yes, sir.
Voice is audible?
Yes, sir, your voice is audible and your presentation is also visible.
Visible, okay.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Dr. Prakash Rodgi, I'm making presentation on behalf of Dr. Alok Chakrawal, Vice Chancellor, Department of Commerce and Business Administration, Saurashtra University, Rajkot. Okay, as per this is a paper and written by Dr. Alok Chakrawal. Because of his busy schedule and he's having a meeting with the ministers and is unable to attend and make the presentation regarding on emerging issues for world economy after COVID-19. So on behalf of Dr. Alok Chakrawal, I am going to make my presentation presentation. Okay, this is emerging issues for world economy after COVID. Means what are the issues emerged after COVID-19? There are so many issues have emerged. Before that, we'd like to know that all till now our beloved director and the resource person of the first resource person, Dr. R.J. Algi sir, and the keynote speaker also mentioned that how the COVID has badly impacted the world economy, because it is all of us know very well that how the COVID has impacted. So every problem there is a solution. Okay, COVID is a problem, then there is a solution. So like that, if we don't have any problem, then there will not be any solution. If you can't say it is a problem, then there will not be any solution. So COVID is a problem and we come up with that problem out, and now the economies are emerging like anything. The pandemic, this COVID-19 has exposed the entire world completely. Means what country is what? The exposed the entire world. This event has been the turning point in the history of the world economy, because this is a major, this COVID-19 is a pandemic has given the turning point for the COVID-19 for the entire world economy. And this COVID-19 has revealed the means of China to the rest of the world. What is China? And every country of the world came to know that about the China, how it is misleading the other countries. At the same time, it has transshipped the reputation of United States of America as a superpower. Means everybody is earlier thinking that America is the superpower. Now COVID-19, because the America is even the superpower nation, it has suffered a lot than India on COVID-19. It is unable to rescue its people in the effect of COVID-19. USA is the worst hit country in the world from the COVID-19, and crossing more than 12 million people infected individuals. More than 12 million people have affected. And believe it or not, the fact that India is going to be benefited by its pandemic in terms of economic growth and development. Now what you are seeing, how the economic development of a country is growing very fast, because of when you see the tax collection, GST collection is increasing like anything prior to that. And the stock market, if you are seeing how the stock market is booming now, because when the these are the indicators, GDP, economic, stock market, these are the indicators of economic development. When you see this, all these things, how compared to the outside world, the Indian economy is growing very fast. After this COVID-19, most of the sizable foreign companies are planning to move out of China also. And here already there are so many companies have moved out, and it is reality that some of the family members have lost their jobs, lost their lives. Salary class people suffering through salary cuts. Some vendors have lost their businesses. Some vendors have shifted to different others jobs. And same time, the government of India has been effortfully or to subsidize effect of this such incident by launching so many schemes, incentive schemes to the business people. There are quite a lot of supporting evidences to validate India's positive efforts in fighting COVID-19, against COVID-19, because India is a country in the world. If you go through the history, if you go through the turn the pages of last 2 years, you'll understand that how the government of India has taken a bold step to overcome and to fight against this COVID-19. In the entire world, India is the only country which has fought against this COVID-19 more effectively than any other countries. So we have to be proud that we are Indians. So it's a fruitful and impact is very visible. Now we are going to, this is the impact. Now how is still now in China, you are seeing that the lockdown. Now what we are seeing in India, there is no lockdown. So this is impact of how the country has fighted against this COVID-19. And this global economy recovery since the COVID hit, entire global economy has hit worst. India is the fastest growing Indian economy in the world. So India is the one of the fastest growing compared to any other countries. Okay, if you compare with the Russia, USA, China, India is the most fastest growing economy. So the US says in 2020, global economy could shrink by almost 1% in 2020 due to COVID-19 pandemic. The US at that time US said, but global economy has shrinked more, almost 1%, but Indian economy has zoomed more than 1%. If you see this, the gross domestic product at current prices, the global GDP 2014 to 24, it is growing from year to year, but the growth rate has limited, not more. So even though there is a pandemic has affected the entire world, but some economies are going very fast like India, some economies are very slow down, some economies are still fighting against, like Sri Lanka, like Pakistan, like Britain, like Russia, they are still struggling. So when you take the global GDP, it is improving. And if you see this, the Asia historic fall, COVID-19 crisis is expected to implicit the step declines in output across the Asia production. Entire Asia 2021, especially from 2019 to 21, the production in entire world has fallen down like anything, because of lockdown in many countries, because of rising death rate, increasing the most COVID-2 pandemic, and because of that, the production and majority of the producing countries have closed down their production, and they are not yet suffered a lot during that period. But now everything is opened, everything is every industry is started manufacturing. But in that particular 2021 had affected a lot for production of many countries. And coronavirus expected to put a damper on a global GDP, especially when compare in a Q1 2020 to 21, the global GDP has decreased, whether it will be China, Japan, other Asias, Eurozones, United States, every country's GDPs came down, including India during that period. Now all the countries' economies are coming on the track now. Now earlier at that point, the COVID has impacted and the GDP has come down, but now the countries, all the countries slowly coming on the track to improve their GDPs. And the poverty level, the COVID-19 could push 500 million people into poverty. More than 20% of income drop caused because of COVID-19 recession, and total 547.6 million people have fall into the poverty line, below poverty line or poverty level throughout the world. Like East Asia and Pacific is the most in Asia and Pacific region. The most of the people, more than 50% of that, the people who are put into a poverty level. And this COVID-19 has staggering impact on global education. There are number of schools have closed down. Number of learners impacted by national school closures because of worldwide. And because of when the schools have been closed down, and it's very badly impacted on the schools education, especially the nurseries and LKG and first and students who have just entered into the in 2019 and 20, who have entered for educational system, they are impacted a lot. And this the government, many government, like in Western countries, the online education earlier was existing, earlier also it was existing, but now in countries like India and or developing countries like India, this online education new, most of the people is new, and adjusting with the online education, it has affected a lot. And government has tried to introduce through, there are so many with so many sophisticated techniques or schemes. The government wants to educate the people even in the pandemic period, but unfortunately the people, it has badly affected the kids of our country, because it is not only educationally affected, it is also the behaviorally also affected many kids. And many kids have become addicted to the mobile phones, computers, and behavioral changes have been started changing in their minds. And because of that, because of those behavioral changes, even now after the post-pandemic, everything is open, it is very difficult for parents to make their kids to come on regular track. So it has affected a lot. And the Chinese manufacturing heavily affected because of COVID-19. Majority of the, because of lockdown, whether it will be a motor vehicle manufacturing company, general machinery companies, railway, ship, aerospace, textiles, fabricated metal, rubber and plastic, all these companies who are manufacturing all these products affected a lot, especially the motor vehicles. Manufacturing has affected a lot, more than 31.8% around it is affected, and their production came down that much. So by these all companies, when it is affected, the Chinese manufacturing companies, because of COVID-19, and many companies who are started their manufacturing units at China from other countries, they started withdrawing from them, and they want to put into India because of their think that how the Chinese are not going to adjust with the changing situations. And US economic growth came in minus 4.8 in a Q1 2020, Earlier, because when Obama was there, majority of the time the economy was in GDP is every quarter is increasing. Okay, but Trump was there, that is GDP is increasing. But when COVID came, it impacted a lot, and the quarterly GDP came in minus figure, minus 4.8. And the aviation industry grounded by coronavirus. All in when the borders are closed, when you can't go from one place to another place, one country to another country, when all the flights have been closed because of COVID impact. So all the planes are grounded. Because of that, the revenue for majority of the companies who are working in aviation industry are affected a lot. Whether it will be Taiwan, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysian, Japanese, Koreas, everybody's income as affected, because there is no passengers are ready to board, because the international flights have been closed. When the international flights are closed, no country is allowing other countries passengers, then other countries planes into their territory. Then when they are closed their borders, it is forcibly every country has to stop their ground their flights and close the flights. So airline industry is affected a lot. Then technology industry, tech industry shipments, especially this impact on the technology based manufacturing industries like televisions, video game manufacturing industry, smartphones, smart speakers, notebooks, smartwatches. All these companies have affected their production and also the marketing, and it has affected a lot. And these manufacturing industries also come down, and they also suffered a loss during this COVID-19. Service industry is the hardest hit by COVID-19, because service industries, especially when you'll think about services, most of the time the services are done by human being, and especially the casino, gambling, everything will be closed. The cinema theaters have closed. The package tours have been closed. Sports and entertainment is closed. School dorms launches closed. Public administration is closed. Railways have been closed. The buses have been closed. The hotels have been closed. Food service from hotels and car rentals, household maintenance, the people are not allowed to, the workers to work in their homes, everything, the all service industry. Because when you think about services, most of the time it will be done by through human being. When COVID is explodes or spreads through the human being, because of that nobody is allowed to enter in their home, the people, or enter then factory, like that. So because of that, everything, wherever the people will join together and work together, such industries have been closed down. And especially the service industries have hardest hit by COVID-19 outbreak. And the global oil demand growth forecast for 2020, the global oil now, the oil rate is increased because of US and Ukraine war. And earlier in that particular period, when the sales of automobile industry, the public transportation is closed down, majority of the cases, the international flights, airlines are closed down, the demand for, and lockdown has happened, and demand for the crude oil or the petrol or diesel came down. And the demand for crude oil or petrol came down, definitely the prices came down. Prices of the crude oil decreased in that particular period. And the global firms who have invested their crores of millions of dollars together in China as a manufacturing hub. China once a time, the China is the manufacturing hub for many global manufacturers. Now the people started thinking, majority of the companies already shifted from China to India. Like that, still more, we're expecting majority of the companies are going to shift from China, whether it will be Japanese companies, or USSR companies or US companies who have started manufacturing in China, they are shifting from China to India. And 1,000 foreign firms small production in India, production in India, 300 actively pursue plan exit China mantra grows. Means exit China is the mantra for many of the manufacturers, foreign manufacturers. They want to exit from China and they want to come to India for manufacturing, which has been published in Business Today. Companies moving out of China will India seize the opportunity. The companies who are thinking that moving from out of China is the first mantra and where they have to move, the next option for them and the best opportunity for them will be the India. So they are started seeing, as Indian government is providing a lot of facilities for companies who are going to start and establish their industries in India. So India, they are the companies who are moving out of China, they started seeing India will be the best opportunity for their business. So they started shifting to India. So COVID-19 financial impact on India, confederations of all India traders has estimated a total loss of 5.5 lakhs crores during 40 days of lockdown. This is how financial impact on India. 5.5 lakhs crores for 40 days lockdown period it has affected, which has been done by estimated by this Confederation of All India Traders. So we can't, nobody can control this, okay, because unless we do the lockdown, we can't overcome with this COVID-19 pandemic. So this was essential, and considering the lives of the people, the government has taken the right decision to lock down and to come out of the COVID-19. India may lose financial impact on India. India may lose 8 lakh crore of GDP to lockdown 1.0. Because of lockdown 1.0, India has lost more than around 8 lakh crore of a GDP, gross domestic product, because of lockdown. And finance ministry imposes expenditure restrictions on non-essential heads, and government has imposed expenditure restrictions on non-essential heads, because during the pandemic period, when the industry has closed, when the revenue is coming down, when there is no revenue to the government, what the government has to do, this is the right step the government has taken. The non-essential heads means which are not essential at the present, but in future may be essential, but at present the only they started spending on essential heads, and non-essential heads have been postponed at that time. With no reimbursement, get ready to pay more tax, and reimbursement has been postponed, and government has imposed to ready to pay the more taxes, because even though government has not increased the tax rate, but collecting the tax on regular basis, because the government has to run its show. It doesn't mean that without a tax, how the government will run its show, because the government has to spend for a social concern or for a social cause only with the money what it has collected from the taxation. So collecting the tax from the corporates, collecting the tax from the people, that will be the only way for a government to give the benefit to the society. And COVID-19 lockdown estimated to cost India 4.5 billion a day. It is estimated. So 4.5 billion per day it has a cost because of lockdown. What in a business line newspaper, acute ratings have mentioned that if one day India has closed down, lockdown, and cost to India will be a 4.5 billion per day. And impact of COVID-19 on India between April and June 20 on GVA, gross value addition, GVA, and it has negatively affected like anything. Okay, whether it will be financial sector, real estate sector, professional services, mining, electricity, everywhere it has affected impact on COVID-19. And estimated quarterly impact of COVID-19 on India GDP. India GDP has minus 9.3% in April-June 2020. Means India is not the exceptional to this to other countries. As other countries GDP has come down, India's GDP also affected during that, because it is not an exceptional to COVID-19 is not exceptional to India. India is also affected. Other countries also affected, but the regaining is there, no? In that regaining, India is a very fast going to gain, overcome with this loss what it has occurred in the earlier years. And salary versus wages, many of the people have lost their jobs and started doing the businesses, and the daily wage workers are affected a lot. Many people have left their jobs in metros, politician cities, and they came back to their villages. So it has affected a lot. COVID-19 affected the personal finance law. Many of the time, the people are unable to pay their EMIs. The salary class, when expecting that they are getting the salary, because of that they go on for buying so many aspects by EMI, and it has affected a lot. It has affected the industrial workers, business people, daily wage workers, professionals, retailers, industry, every street hawkers, everyone. The personal finance has the worstly affected of the people who are whether it will be salaried class or industrial worker or retailers. Everyone has affected a lot. And Indian model of economy is different than the world economy, okay, or any other country's economy. India's model of economy is concentrating on employment creation is the key task of the government, whether it will be state government or central government, always trying to achieve employment creation. So the focus of our government is on employment creation. Then second one is self-reliant. You should not rely on the depend on any other economies or any other countries for any product, so that we should be self-sufficient to manufacture ourselves, whether it will be whether it will be as a food product, or whether it will be any sophisticated products like weapons, should we, or the aircrafts, anything, we should be self-reliant. We should ready to produce our requirement. We should not depend on the other countries, so that when we will become self-reliant, definitely we should not depend on others. Definitely will grow very fast than other countries. So the government, because of that, the self-reliant, the Atmanirbhar Bharat has been launched by our Honorable Prime Minister of Narendra Modi ji. Then cooperative and collective business model. Okay, it is not especially in India, the cooperative and collective business model all should grow with everyone. Every business should grow, not on this giving a importance for some particular businesses. The Indian business model will be like that. Then Swadeshi economy, giving a Swadeshi movement, Swadeshi products, that will be more the economic model of our country. Then trustship model of Mahatma Gandhi. You have to trust everyone, every businessman, every industrialist, every person of this. The trustship model of Mahatma Gandhi. Then following principle of J.K. Mehta's economics. When J.K. Mehta is the global Indian philosopher, he is a global Indian philosopher. He has mentioned in his book Economics of Growth. Okay, when you'll go through this economics of growth, you'll identify that human behavior is the subject matter of the science of economics. Human behavior is the subject matter. How the behavior, if any country wants to improve its economy, then the behavior of the people is very important. It is generally the result of the state of disequilibrium of human mind. It is not anything. It is because of human mind it is going to affect. Disequilibrium is due to more pain than the pleasure, and moving towards the wantlessness. Minimize your needs and aspirations and maintain your self contentment. With this, mentioning the principles of economic principles of J.K. Mehta, I would like to conclude that the future of the Indian economy is very good, excellent than any other countries, because the government policies in a such way that they are taking into the heights of others economy, and the government is identifying the key sectors which are essential for the development of our economy, which are essential for self-reliant, and giving focus on that, helping those sectors and boosting those sectors, and making the India is the world superpower in coming days. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for sharing the presentation of Honorable Dr. Alok Kumar Chakrawal, sir, on behalf of him with us. The presentation you shared was really loaded with information in which you covered up different angles of COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on all the spheres of economy in India particularly. Sir, you rightly throw light on the need of a day on self-reliance and meticulously talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat mission initiated by central government of India. Sir, we rarely get this kind of opportunity to listen to the words of a great knowledgeable speakers like you. We are overwhelmed by your sharp fluency of the subject. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Here, I would like to declare that the second plenary session comes to an end here only. Welcome back, all the participants, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we are entering in the technical session of today's National E-Conference, which is based on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. For this technical session, we have with us Dr. Chandrasekhar Salunke from ICS College, Khed, State Maharashtra. Sir has 25 years of teaching experience. He has published 40 research papers and is a research guide. I would like to request Honorable Dr. Chandrasekhar Salunke, sir, to preside over this technical session.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
now,
I'm audible.
Just a minute, sir. Now the moment has come to add a golden feather in the hat of success. We are going to invite selected enthusiastic researchers for the oral presentation. They will be getting a minimum of 10 minutes each to present the research paper. Now moving over to the Honorable Chairperson. Salunke, sir.
Okay. Okay. So as per communication that today total 10 participants or 10 researchers are going to present their paper. So madam, please confirm whether all are live.
Sir, all are live.
Okay.
No problem, sir. We can go ahead.
So researcher, you are very well aware about the theme of the conference as well as the given schedule. So it is my appeal to all researchers, please try to focus on their objectives and try to correlate that objectives with reference to their findings. It is a presentation. Total 10 participants are there. So first presenter is there, Professor Manikchand Gustavade. Title of his paper is that impact of COVID-19 on construction industry and coping strategy. So are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm there, sir.
Okay, so please, I would like to request you.
Yes,
please
sir.
start your presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
A very good afternoon to all. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So very good afternoon to all. Firstly, I would like to thank the principal and management of Patpanhale Education Society for providing an opportunity to present the paper in this national conference on impact of COVID-19 on key sectors in India. I would also like to thank Dr. R.G. Alagi sir for his motivation in writing this paper. Thank you, sir. And I also like to thank Dr. Chandrasekhar Salunke sir for chairing this particular session. So before I present my paper, my title of the paper is Impact of COVID-19 on Construction Industry and Coping Strategies. Is a qualitative research. I, Manikchand Bastwade, working as assistant professor in BVV Sangha's Institute of Management Studies, Bagalkot, Karnataka. So let me begin with my presentation. So abstract of this particular paper is, the construction industry is an essential arm of the global economy and an important resource in the overall product of the local economies. It's on December 29, the entire construction industry hit by COVID-19, which was classified by the World WHO as a global pandemic after its rapid and swift spread across the different countries. Pandemic has brought a major ups and downs and tremendous changes in the cement and construction industry, like sanitization, cleanliness and safety of the job that is going to increase the way as a high standard. The pandemic also raised many challenges at the level of workforce, low productivity, production time and cost, as well as disputes in the contractual formulas for the construction projects. Many researchers who have inclined towards the construction industry have dealt with the consequences of COVID-19. Here, an attempt is made to throw light on major effects of COVID-19 on this particular industry around the world and in India, followed by the methodology of review, analysis and selection, and suggesting some of the coping strategies to overcome this impact. Objective of the study. This article attempts to throw light on the most important impacts of this pandemic on the construction industry in India and across the world, while presenting some strategies to overcome these effects and reduce the current damages that is resulting from the construction industry. The methodology, as I told, it's a qualitative paper. It has been done by collecting the limited available information from various sources, including literatures, government reports, publications published by construction organizations like CMA and all, etc. An attempt is made here to study and analyze all the information contained in the publications of construction specialists about the types of impact of COVID-19 on the local construction industry, and then to suggest some coping strategies again. So first we'll come to the first part, that is impact of COVID-19 on the construction industry. The first problem or the first impact, what we say on construction industry is the problems related to workforce. When we say construction industry, take it in the world or in India, construction based on the workforce, that is, it is most likely be people oriented, because as we have seen, most of the people who work in this construction industry are migrated employees from one place to another place. So based on the report of an international labor organization, approximately 2.7 billion workers.
Sorry, Best Sir, I'm disturbing you.
Yeah, sir.
Please, your PPT is not moving.
It's not moving, sir.
Yeah.
Now, sir.
No.
Sir, is it?
Only first slide is visible. Just try to highlight third one or second, which you are going to present.
Professor Manik,
Sir.
your only title paper is there on the screen.
Sir, I'll do one thing. I'll share once again, sir. I'll share once again. Sorry.
But time is important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And if you are facing any technical issue, then you may continue. No problem.
No, sir. From me, the slides are moving, but I know there is a problem with this. I'll just try to rectify.
Okay.
You have to share the screen. Now it's okay.
Yes. Okay.
Visible, sir?
Yeah, visible.
Okay, sir. Okay. So the first problem I was discussing is problem related to workforce. Based on the report of an international labor organization, approximately 2.7 billion workers, that is equivalent to 81% of the workforce around the world, including India, have affected by COVID-19, and certainly these percentages include workers in the construction sector. A survey also indicated through interviews with 13 construction professionals from various disciplines in 10 different construction companies that 46% of the workers temporarily remotely working, 15% are still working on the site, and 16% have lost their jobs. The workforce has also suffered from great psychological burdens as a result of worrying about their future and the financial difficulties that they face them. Especially the majority of them have financial obligations and families. This is what prompted many workers in the informal construction sector to continue working despite of epidemic, exposing themselves and their families at risk. That means, though people are aware that this epidemic is going to have a major impact on their health and their families, then also some of the people, they are working on the sites, okay, ignoring the risk because they have to feed their family, because their family is dependent on them. Though there are a lot of psychological burdens, then also some of the people, they started working on the site, and majority of the people, what we saw, these employees were shifted back to their native places. They migrated again from urban to rural, and they started doing their agricultural procedure and other works on their native places. The second one impact is interruptions in the supply chain. The cement industry has encountered interruption to its supply chains. Major construction projects in India and South Asia have already reported delays. Because of supply chain and this pandemic, okay, there are a lot of supply chain hindrances that happened. And that is why the projects which were used to constructed in a given time have passed the or delayed the reported time. Field markets may prove erratic as the large customers cut back and supplies like OPEC. They restricted their production, and because of that, there was a hindrance in the supply chain. On the maintenance side, cement plants need a wide range of parts such as refractories, motors, wear parts for mills, lubricants, gears, ball bearing, and so on. Some of these may have more complicated supply chain routes, which were using from last 30 years ago, and those have impacted during this COVID-19. On the supplier side, any new or upgraded plant project is vulnerable if necessary parts are delayed by the production halt. Logistics delayed and staff are prevented from visiting work sites. Other suppliers' weak points in their supply chain may become exposed to turn. This would benefit suppliers with sufficient robust chain. That means suppliers, on the other hand, have also upgraded many things, but due to this particular interruptions during the COVID-19, many people in the supply chain also have affected, and because of that, even companies have suffered many of the schedules that are delayed for their sufficient robust chains. Legal issues. Legal disputes and claims have affected the local construction industry in India and across the globe. Some specialists believe that it is possible to interpret COVID-19 as being of the category of force majeure. Force majeure is a term which is used to say unforeseeable circumstances in which contractors are unable to fulfill the contract, while others tend to principle of changing the laws to resolve the dispute. This particular issue raised because there were many commitments that the particular project or construction will finish during so and so years. If any delay happens, the contractor has to pay penalties. But because of this particular pandemic outbreak, there were many delays and there were some legal issues raised because of that unforeseen circumstances. So many people, they forced in the construction industry that this particular thing has to be categorized under force majeure, and no such penalties or any legal issues can be raised against the contractors. The legal effects of COVID-19 were not limited to construction contractors only, but extended and to include relation between the participants in the projects. So there were disputes between stakeholders and contractors due to delay or lack of completion. Other disputes between contractors and subcontractors, as subcontractors may demand a new mechanism of pricing for their project activity. Though since shortage of raw material and everything, definitely the prices have increased, and that was one issue to go for legal aspects and conflicts. There were no doubt that construction companies and contractors faced many other legal compliances, such as percentage of profits, increased cost, new safety condition, and issue of tax, etc. This requires difficult negotiations, given that the contractual terms are not equal with the price fluctuations or stoppage of project activities as a result of outbreak. There were risks associated with cement companies also. The risk for cement companies due to COVID-19 comes from decrease in the economic activity. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, predicts a global 0.5% year-on-year decrease in the real gross GDP growth of to 2.4, with China and India suffering the worst declines in GDP growth at around 1%. That the globe figure is the worst since the minus 0.1% rate reported by the International Monetary Fund in 2009. But this forecast is contingent on the epidemic peaking in China in the first quarter of 2020. The new cases of the viruses in the other countries being sporadic and contained. On the other hand, cement markets and production demand is likely to be sluggish as countries implement various measures of isolation and quarantine, leading to decrease in the residential demand for buildings directly and as a workforce are restricted. So as Dr. R.J. Algi sir also were discussing in his speech, like how the prices of this real estate has come down in the metros like Bangalore and all those things, because the residential demands for building is directly decreasing, and even the workforce people are also not turning out for the particular work. And if they're turning out, then the contractor is having a major responsibility to take care of the employees by following the SOPs that has been given by the central and state government. Some coping strategies to mitigate the damages. The first strategy that can be used to mitigate the damages caused by the pandemic was safe work site condition. The organizations or contractors to develop a new occupational safety and standards and protocols to face the critical health challenges which are result of COVID-19. Thus, it will maximize the safety factor of the construction workers at the site. So the first thing is the safety conditions of the workers and the protocols have to be followed properly. Adopting strict health policies, including ensuring a safety distance between workers and the use of proactive masks, urging workers to physical hygiene and the use of disinfectants, good ventilation, as well as improving the overall health of the employees. It may require to reduce the number of workers present on the site by following the work shifts at different times and directing a non-essential workers to work from home, with the possibility that supervisors work on site from their cars to avoid contact with the rest of the workers. Work from home, here we are not targeting on the people who are actually working on the site, but the supervisors or the engineers, they can just sit in the home and they can use the technology to let know them like what the exact happening in the particular work site. Creative and innovation solutions. The project manager can manage claims and communicate with the contractors via video calls through an interactive electronic platform or direct communicating among the stakeholders. Contractors, on their part, have the task early monitoring of the supply chain and continuous examination of the schedule of the project activities. They also have to search for reliable alternatives from local suppliers of construction material. Another type of tactic is through diversifying supply chain and avoiding being satisfied with a single source of supply, or adopting decentralization by establishing a network of supply centers from easily accessible areas. Drones to monitor the site, or even using robots or 3D printing in construction processes will help to reduce the human factor on the work sites. Supportive and fair legislation. Contracts must be reviewed and amendments may be made to both local regulations and standard contracts to settle disputes over the extension of financial obligation. It is not correct to deal with contractors as individual cases. Rather, dealing must be within the comprehensive vision of the magnitude of the crisis. Countries and governments should take the initiative through steps that contribute to minimizing the damages, such as providing COVID-19 tests for the contractors to check workers, especially foreigners, that is, people who are migrating from other places, amending occupational health and safety regulations in contract, imposing fair tax policies that allow local suppliers to compete in the material market, providing a bank lending facility with a lower interest rate, and especially for the small
please
companies.
try to conclude in next 2-3 minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Financial crisis or psychological problems as a result of sector being affected by COVID-19. These effects of COVID-19 were wide and varied, but the most important of them were problems that related to workforce, disruption of supply chain, and legal disputes. Corona pandemic may be opportunity to change traditional policies in management and moving more towards modernity and automation. Taking the advantage of some modern technologies and computer applications with more attention to the issue of occupational safety and the safety factor of the workforce, especially in developing countries like India, and the possibility of reformulating contracts and legal legislations in a way that achieves the principle of justice for all stakeholders. The only limitation of this study is that it has suffered from the scarcity of information due to the dearth of literature on the effects of COVID-19 on the construction industry. So thank you one and all for giving me an opportunity. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. That was
Okay.
really a remarkable thought on the topic. Thank you so much, Professor Manikchand Bastwade, sir.
Thank you,
from
ma'am.
Karnataka. Ladies and gentlemen, we are having a great opportunity to listen to the words by a great knowledgeable presenter. I am talking about Dr. Vinod Kamble from State Maharashtra. I am pleased to invite him to present his paper here. So please,
Yeah,
Dr.
thank
Vinod,
yeah.
Vinod Kamble is there?
Yeah. Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please
Can
go
I
ahead.
start my presentation?
Just a reminder, sorry to interrupt you, but you need to finish your presentation within 10 minutes. That is 8+2.
Sure, madam, sure.
Okay, sir. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Vinod Kamble. I am presenting this paper along with my principal, sir, Ashish Vakilna. And my topic of research is a study on career planning aspect of undergraduate and postgraduate students of distance education of University of Mumbai. First of all, IDOL, we all know that IDOL is a correspondence education which is started by Mumbai University in 1971. Initially, it was registered, when it was started, 845 students were there registered, and in the academic year 2018-19, altogether 67,138 students were registered, had taken the admission, and we can see that day by day the numbers are increasing, and many BCom and MCom students are many BCom. Somebody's mic is on. Somebody's mic is on. Sakshi, ma'am. Okay. Many BCom and MCom.
Now you unmute, sir. Kamble, sir, now you unmute.
Okay. Many BCom and MCom students and other courses students of IDOL are going for the higher education to the abroad also. Now talking about career planning means we are deciding the goals of our career and we are deciding the course of action to achieve those career goals. So I am trying to connect these two things, that how the IDOL students or distance education students are undertaking their career planning activities. So that is what my research is all about. I have done the review of literature wherein I found out that a lot of research is done on the career planning of employees and other students, but not on the distance education students. So this gap I wanted to fill up. So this particular research is undertaken to fill up that gap of finding out the career planning activity done by the IDOL students of University of Mumbai. My objectives are to find out how much UG and PG students of IDOL section are aware about career planning. Second, my objective is what all steps they are undertaking to decide their career goal. And third objective is to find out the problems that the students are facing to undertake their career planning activity. These are my hypotheses. I will talk about hypothesis in the further slides where I have already done the analysis, and there I will talk about hypothesis. My research methodology, my research is qualitative research, because here I'm trying to find out the career planning aspect. So it is all qualitative data. So it is my qualitative research. Research was conducted in the Mumbai city among UG/PG students of distance education of University of Mumbai. Sampling method was judgmental and purposive sampling method, and totally 179 students of UG and PG were taken as a sample size. Primary data was collected through structured questionnaire wherein Google form was prepared, and that Google form was shared with the students on their WhatsApp, because I was a coordinator for IDOL section of University of Mumbai. So I was there were some students in my contact, so I had shared the Google form with them and I got the questionnaire filled up from them. And then for analysis purpose, I have used the graph and chi-square test for the hypothesis testing. This is my data analysis, wherein 32% were male and 68% were female in respondents. Courses enrolled, 120 students were from post-graduation courses and 59 students were from undergraduate courses. I asked them whether they know about the career planning. Then 116 students said yes, 26 said no, and 37 said somewhat. Then I asked them whether they have decided their career goals. Then 110 students, they said yes, they have decided about their career goals. Then I asked them whether how they were inspired, who has inspired them to decide their or take up their career goals. So 100 students, they said they themselves have decided their career goals, and then followed by 43 students said that family member helped them to decide their career goals. Then I asked, next question was, within how many years you want to achieve your career goals? So 147 students said within less than 5 years they want to achieve their career goals. Have you done your career related SWOT analysis? So 95 students said yes, they have done their SWOT analysis. Then next question was, are they taking any step to overcome their weaknesses? Then 60% students said yes. When they were asked whether they are taking the steps to overcome their threats, 58% students said yes. Next question was, what steps are they taking to achieve their career goals? So here we can say that blue bar is always and red bar is sometimes. So we can say they are undertaking the training program. They are taking the guidance from the seniors in the same field where they want to pursue their career. And also they are watching the videos online related to their career goals. So these are the steps they are taking to achieve their career goals. And when they were asked what problems they are facing in achieving their career goals, so again, this blue bar is indicating yes. The students are saying that they have too many responsibilities, plus they are not getting that proper guidance for their career goals, and plus they are also facing the problem of time management. So these are the problems that the students are facing that they said. Now my hypothesis testing is given here. First hypothesis is there is no significant difference between the gender and deciding about the career goals by UG/PG students of distance education of University of Mumbai. Means this particular hypothesis is saying that male or female, both are deciding their career goal in the same way. This is what is my null hypothesis is saying. I applied here chi-square test because both my variables, that is gender and how they decide their career goal, both the variables are qualitative. That is why I applied chi-square here. When I applied chi-square, my p-value came as 0.9478, and this is higher than 0.05. And that is why I accepted my null hypothesis because it is higher than 0.05. And my conclusion is male and female students, both they decide their career goal in the same manner. There is no difference in deciding their career goal. This is my first hypothesis conclusion is that male and female students, they decide their career goal in the same manner. Second hypothesis is there is no significant difference between course enrolled for and awareness about the career planning. Means this hypothesis is saying that whether they are UG students or PG students, their awareness level about the career planning is same. This is my null hypothesis. Again, I applied here chi-square because my both the variables are qualitative, and my p-value came as 0.0073, which is less than 0.005. And that is why I rejected my null hypothesis. It means UG and PG students are having different awareness level about the career plan. Might be UG students are having less awareness and PG students are having higher awareness. So this is my second conclusion of my second hypothesis. My limitation of study is I could collect the data only from the 179 students, and I had included only UG/PG students of Mumbai University IDOL section. Other universities were not considered here, and might be the responses given by the respondent are biased. So these are my limitations. Now conclusion. See, when we are talking about our regular students, they get the guidance from the teachers, or they are having the exposure to many things. They are having campus recruitment, they are having subjects teachers, so they can guide them how to undertake the career planning. But for these distance education students, they are not having anyone to guide, and that is why here we can say that these students are also deciding their career goals. They also want to achieve their career objectives. They are doing many things, like they are undertaking training programs. They are also taking the guidance from the senior. They are watching online videos, but at the same time, they are also facing some problem, like family responsibilities are there, or career guidance. Sometimes they might not be, there might not be available for them. Time management is a problem for them. So this is the entire conclusion of my study. So these students are also undertaking the career planning activity, but they are also facing some problems. So I would suggest IDOL that they should have some campus recruitment, or they should have some guest lecture for these kind of students also. Thank you for your patience listening. These are my references. Thank you again.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your reflective knowledge with us. We wish you a very bright future in the Department of Research and Development.
Thank you.
Then the next distinguished to honor us with his paper presentation is Dr. Prakash B. Kundragi from Karnataka. I would like to invite him to present his research paper on this platform, virtual platform now. Over to Dr. Prakash Kundragi, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I'm sharing my screen. Is this visible, ma'am? Is my PPT is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then first I would like to thank the Patpanhale Education Societies and for wonderfully conducting this one-day multidisciplinary national conference. And with respect to impact of COVID-19 on the key sectors in India. This is, and for that I have made a title on that, an empirical study on technology and accessibility with respect to customer satisfaction in banking services during COVID-19. My affiliation is to Dr. Prakash Kundragi, Assistant Professor, SDBSN's Annapurna Institute of Management Research, Sankeshwar of Belgaum District, Karnataka. Then I don't want to consume the much of the time, and for that suddenly I go for the statement of problem here. And since we have as we know, the banking sector is one of the growing sector with respect to providing the huge kind of more of the different services, and with respect to ease of availability and many of the new technology for that, and the extent they are providing the accessibility to the its customers and for that. And though they have been providing, and still there is a huge scope for the technological development with respect to banking industry. And for that then still they are offering the online accessibility through the developed kind of the technologies, which is to help the customers and to get satisfied their own customers, and with respect to technology accessibility. And for that I have been come up with a wonderful title, that is an empirical study on technology, accessibility, and customer satisfaction in banking services during COVID-19. Next, I'll move on to objectives of the study. Then these are the study objectives which have been found after going through the literature review and most of the literature review, and all. After that, I have been come up with some of the objectives here, and to study the customers' demographic variable information, that is one, and to study the relationship between technology and accessibility with customer satisfaction, that is one. And the third one is to analyze the relationship between technology and accessibility with the customer satisfaction during COVID-19.
Sir,
And,
please,
yeah,
sir,
sorry,
please scroll your slide.
This is not scrolling, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
This is visible, sir.
yeah. Now it is visible.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That is a hypothesis. Two hypotheses have been made, and there is a positive association between accessibility and customer satisfaction. And second one is there is a positive association between technology and customer satisfaction. One is accessibility and customer satisfaction, and one is technology and customer satisfaction. Then we'll move on to this is a methodology that have been done to come up with conclusion part and all. And for that, the primary data has been collected through well-structured questionnaire, which has been included in that demographic variables, accessibility, technology questions, and with even the customer satisfaction, which have been employed to collect the primary data. And the non-probabilistic non-probabilistic convenient sampling technique which have been used to collect samples. That is what 100 customers have been gathered the information, and at the same time, simple percentage way have been used to come up with data, to analyze the data also. And Pearson correlation I have been engaged to understand, to come up with the correlationship between the dependent and the independent variable. And I think this is like journals, websites, and articles I have been used to collect some of the secondary data for this research. And this is a hypothesis one. There is no positive and association between accessibility and customer satisfaction. This is what null hypothesis. And at the same time, alternative hypothesis is there is a positive association between accessibility and customer satisfaction. Then with the help of Pearson correlation, this is what 0.719. This is what more than this is what we can understand. There is a positive relationship between that's what accessibility of the software which have been providing by the banks, and at the same time their customer satisfaction. And significant value, that is what 0.000, which is less than 0.05. Then we can understand that. And though I have been said this is what the 95% of the confidence level, and this null hypothesis has been rejected at 99%. That is what 0.001 level. Then which shows that there is a positive and significant relationship between the accessibility of the software and at the same time customer satisfaction. Then I next move on to the next hypothesis. There is no positive association between technology and customer satisfaction. That is null hypothesis. And alternative hypothesis is a positive and significant relationship between technology and customer satisfaction. And this is also we can understand that the Pearson value correlation value that is 0.361, which is positive in the positive value, which shows there is a positive relationship between technology and customer satisfaction. And at the same time, we can see here, this is how it is, significant value 0.000, which is less than 0.05. Though it has been set for the 95% of the confidence level, it has been, the null hypothesis has been rejected with 99% of the confidence level, and that is what 0.01 level. This is what the second hypothesis. The next part I go for the findings of this research. Then in this my research with respect to technology accessibility and customer satisfaction in the banking industries in the Belgium industry. This is how it is. The majority of the customers age with respect to demographic variable, the less than 37 were there. And the majority of the customers were the male, and though they have the unmarried. And most of the students have been come under the customers, those are male and unmarried. This is how it is. And majority of the customers were the degree holders, the students, and even they are the students, and with respect to their occupation. There is a positive and significant relationship between the account of accessibility and the customer satisfaction is one of the major findings here. And the final findings in this research with respect to there is a positive and significant relationship between ease of usage of the technology and customer satisfaction with respect to this banking industries. These are the two major the findings have been come up with this wonderful research, and to understand the relationship between these two variables, dependent and independent. And I will come up with a conclusion here. That is, as we know, this pandemic has been created a lot of the troubles among the people, and at the same time, like many of the industries have been struggled a lot with respect to shopping, online selling, and online transfer of the monies and that. This is how it is with respect to to satisfy the customers during the normal time or the normal season it is very difficult. Hence, in the pandemic period, it was a challenging job to the banking sectors, and they have faced a lot of the problems in the during COVID-19. And customers were what the banking sector has been come up with providing the online platform to understand, to get satisfied, and to retain back those customers towards their banks and all. They have struggled a lot, and the customers needs to transact any with their banks and all for their daily needed things with respect to any medicines and all during the COVID pandemic, the home delivery there, and the food, and even any grains, and even like the groceries and all, they have been transacted towards their bankings and all, this online shopping and all. Then at the same time, the products or any transfer of the money is under here. With this research, I can conclude that, and the customers have satisfied towards the banking services, and such are with respect to user friendly technology and accessibility with respect to during the COVID-19, and they have been given wonderful kind of the platform to the customers, and they have made the wonderful strategy to retain their customers back. With this, I have been conclude my my presentation. For doing this, and I thank all these organizers of the one day online conference, and at the same time I thank Dr. Salanki sir, and even I should thank my director Dr. Vidya and Professor Santosh, who have been always the ever source of inspiration to my research. And thank you so much, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your reflective knowledge with us. We wish you a very bright future in the Department of Research and Development. Thank you very much, sir. Now, this is the time to encourage the spirit of next researcher. For that, I would like to invite Ms. Shweta from State Haryana. For oral presentation, her topic is Cashless Transaction System in India during COVID-19. I would like to invite her to present her research paper now. Over to Ms. Shweta. Ms. Shweta, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please go ahead.
Is slide visible, ma'am? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, but your slide is not visible.
Let me check, ma'am.
Okay.
Is slide visible, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, visible now.
You can go ahead. Ms. Shweta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Firstly, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you so much for giving me opportunity to present my paper. The title of the paper is Cashless Transaction System in India during COVID-19. I'm Shweta, and I'm working in the Chaudhry Bansilal University, Bhiwani, Haryana, as guest faculty in the Department of Commerce. Firstly, earlier there was no currency and transactions were settled through the barter system, that is, goods were exchanged for goods and services were exchanged for services. Then need for monetary value emerged and the money was introduced. This was the time when currency or coin came into existence. After increasing the size of business, transactions were settled through banking channels, that is, checks or bank drafts. After that, due to emergence of technology, cashless transaction system is introduced. Cashless transaction system is something in which there is no use of cash and where transactions are settled through the digital payment options rather than physical currency. In transaction systems, methods powered by the digital information technology replaced physical currency. During COVID-19 pandemic, there are a lot of negative effects, but the only thing on which the COVID-19 pandemic affected positively was cashless transaction system. Cashless transaction system is something which is increased during the COVID-19 pandemic, and people are now enjoying using cashless transaction system. There are various methods of using cashless transaction systems like paperless based methods. There are checks and bank drafts. In electronic based technology, there are NEFT, credit card, debit card, mobile wallet, RTGS, UPI, internet banking, Aadhaar-enabled payment system, and prepaid cards. Cashless transaction systems in demonetization. If we look at the demonetization system, that is, which is occurring to the India on November 9 and 2016, the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, demonetized currency notes of rupees 500 and rupees 1000 for curbing black money. This was the step towards making cashless India. After demonetization, people started using cashless payment method. Many new cashless payment methods were introduced, but this was not sufficient to make India completely cashless transaction system. This was not sufficient to make India developing or to make India a complete system where no paper currency was used. Then COVID-19 pandemic came in 2019. COVID-19 is a disease that can be easily transferred from affected person or by touching the surfaces having viruses. During COVID-19 pandemic, people believed that there was risk of spreading virus by exchanging currency notes. And this is the reason people started using cashless payment options for settling their transactions. It was a tremendous move in cashless transactions. People started paying their electricity bill, mobile recharge, online shopping, etc. through using mobile or through using internet system. So by using both primary and secondary data, the impact of COVID-19 on cashless transactions studied under this research. Objectives of these studies are to study the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on cashless transactions, to study the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on cashless transactions in Haryana through various dimensions, to study the trend of cashless transaction in India in future, and to study the cashless transactions in India during COVID-19 with respect to other countries. And for this, I used primary data as well as secondary data to study this research. And the sample size for this study is 128 respondents. That is 128 respondents in Haryana of different age group, of different gender, and of different working status respond their views. Analysis: as per the RBI annual report, total of 2,32,602 lakh transactions were made in financial year 2018-19, worth rupees 16 crore 37 lakh 13,425 crore, which was increased to 4,43 lakh 41,240 lakh transactions in financial year 2019-20. Cashless transactions have recorded a growth of 30.2% in financial year 2021 as per the RBI data. Due to COVID-19, there has been a significant increase in number of cashless transactions, but it decreased in value. That is, it increased in number of cashless transaction system, but also it decreased in value. RBI data has revealed that cashless transactions volume have grown of 55.1% between 2015-16 and 2019-20 at compounded annual growth rate. During COVID-19, India is one of the fastest growing country in cashless transaction system. As per the data by NPCI, that is National Payment Corporation of India, UPI payment shows 1.34 billion transactions valued approximately rupees 2.62 lakh crore during June 2020, that is during COVID-19 pandemic. If we compare India with other countries in respect of cashless transaction system, India is one of the fastest growing nation in digital transactions. According to a report in 2020, India placed at first position in real-time payment transaction with 25.5 billion transaction, where China is at second position and South Korea is at third position and Mexico is at 10th position with 942 mm. It clearly shows that India is increasing in cashless transaction system. The people of India uses cashless transaction system, and during COVID-19, India about more than 50% of people started using cashless transaction system. A survey was conducted to study the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on cashless transactions in Haryana, and 128 respondents gave their response. And it was recorded that cashless versus cash payment, more than people cashless prefer people prefer cashless system more than the cash payment. About 68.7% respondents uses cashless payment options, and 31.3% respondents still don't use cashless payment options. And if we compare the cashless payment option before COVID-19 pandemic and after COVID-19 pandemic, out of the total responses collected before COVID-19 pandemic, 39.8% respondents use cash for making payments, and only 6.3% respondents use cashless payment options, and 53.9% respondents used both. And if we see after COVID-19 pandemic, 19.5% respondents use cashless payment options, 18% respondents use cash, and 69.5% respondents use both payment option. During COVID-19 pandemic, there is significant increase in the cashless transaction system. And when we asked which is better option, cash or cashless, then out of total respondents, 75% respondents said cashless payment option is better than cash payment option. And if we see after demonetization effect, that how demonetization affect on cashless payment system, then 10.9% respondents said they use cashless payment option before demonetization in India, and 35.9% respondents started using cashless payment option after demonetization, and 15.6% respondents still don't use cashless payment option, and 37.5% respondents started using cashless payment option after COVID-19 pandemic. And if we see the future of cashless transactions in India by seeing the respondents' views, then as per the report by the ACI Worldwide, which provides solutions, payment solutions to corporation, it is seen that around next 5 years, 71.7% share of all payments in India by 2025, and 28.3% share of cash and check, the other payment alternatives. And the conclusion is the purpose of the study is to know the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on cashless transaction system. COVID-19 pandemic affect negatively on most of the system in India, but it affects positively on the cashless transaction system in India. COVID-19 pandemic has positive impact, and due to fear of, because people have fear that due to transfer of cash, due to exchange of cash, they get contaminated with the virus of COVID-19. And due to fear of transmission of virus, people started using cashless payment method, and now it becomes their habit of using cashless payment method. After the findings and result, it can be said that COVID-19 pandemic resulted in positive impact of cashless transaction in India. And these are the references of the paper. Thank you so much for listening me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your hard work and wish you a great future ahead. Welcome back. With the spirit of the show must go on, we would like to invite the next presenter. His name is Dr. Rohita Kamath from Goa. It will be a privilege for me to invite Dr. Rohita and to listen her knowledgeable words. Over to Dr. Rohita. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I am there.
Okay, ma'am. Please
Just share
continue.
my screen. Can you see my screen, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible.
Okay, great. On the onset, let me wish you all a very good afternoon. And thanks you to the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and a special thanks to Professor P.A. Desai. My topic today, which I have selected, is a gender-wise study on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the dropout rate. I'm Assistant Professor of Economics, MES College of Arts and Commerce, Zuarinagar, Goa. As we know around the world that the schools had been closed and as the countries were to slow the spread of the coronavirus, this left the students out of the classroom and left us with the question of how do we educate the children during this crisis? So the interruptions in the education process has affected from nursery to the higher education with potential losses in learning. So 80% of the children who should have been in school are actually not in school. And as per the World Bank's Learning Poverty Index, the percent of children who cannot read and understand at the age of 10, now we have around 53% of children in the low and the middle income countries which cannot read and understand a simple story by the end of primary school. And in poor countries, we have a level as high as 80%. Now, what are the concerns we have because of the pandemic is the significant problems that arise when the pandemic just came down was how many students actually had the devices to study. So if we are talking about the education sector and now if we are talking about going online, how many students actually had the mobiles with them? Could they afford the mobiles? That was another secondary question. So then we had a question that did the students get internet connectivity? There were many students which cases we read in the newspapers and all had to walk kilometers far away to get internet connectivity. So many a time student would give up. So did the students have the willingness to learn online? It is always a difference when you have teacher one-to-one facing with the student and educating them while you are online. Many a times, students just give up saying that, okay, fine, I'm online, and my attendance is given and they hardly pay attention to what a teacher has to say. So did they have the basic resources? If we are talking about the poor, did they have the pen, the books, the notebooks? Usually when we go into schools, we find government schools giving them these facilities. So being at home, did they have these facilities? Well, that was another question that was raised. So also a part that is played from the home and the background is, do the students have supportive parents? When situations came into talking about online teaching and were the parents supportive enough? Were they understanding the need of the hour? Were they supportive enough to actually go and buy a mobile for them? Now, going and buying was another question because a question that was raised is many of the parents were unemployed during the pandemic time. So did they earn an income? Were they employed to earn a living? So that was another question raised. So when we talk about COVID-19 and we talk about education sector, we cannot avoid looking into these aspects of these problems. So the coronavirus pandemic had huge economic shock as the families did not have the financial resources, and we could see huge dropouts from schools and colleges for the sole reason that parents could not afford their education. The setup of my paper is I'll be talking about the objectives, the review of the literature, methodology, data analysis, and lastly, giving the suggestions. So talking about my objectives, I would want to study the school enrollment ratio, that is gender-wise, males and females in India, to study the education completion rate in India, to study the gender parity index, to analyze the dropout rate in schools, and to understand the impact of COVID-19 which had on education, and lastly, to make some suggestions. My review of literature, well, I would just want to skip on this literature here. Moving on to my methodology, my basic paper is totally dependent on the secondary data that is gathered from World Bank, UNESCO, and the Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education, Government of India. My data analysis, well, when we talk about your enrollment ratio, and I'm talking about how many schools actually children are going to schools. So how many schools do we have and how many children are actually enrolled into schools? So we have 4 distinctions here, which is as pre-primary education, primary education, secondary education, and tertiary education. So we estimate that a child who enters into the pre-primary education would move on to primary education, further move on to the secondary education, and lastly to the tertiary education. So these are just a distinction about how it is divided here. Have a look at this slide which talks about the school enrollment of the males. Here we have the pre-primary, primary, secondary, and tertiary sector divided. So you would see that in the primary section, moreover, there was school enrollment because it is at this stage where we've seen that government took initiatives of giving midday meals. Government, gave uniforms, books, everything free. So moreover, children were actually encouraged to go to school. And then we had this pandemic. And because of the pandemic, you can see that the children from primary to the secondary section, there was a decrease and gradually a decrease in the tertiary sector in terms of male school enrollment. In terms of the female school enrollment, we see a similar ratio here. That means in the primary section, all the children get enrolled into the schools and gradually they drop out. A summation of the school enrollment of the males and the females we would see here together is the similar figure which replicates with saying that primary education, everybody enrolls and then gradually there is a dropout rate here. Talking about the gross enrollment ratio here. Now, if we look at hello, can you hear me? Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. No, I just got a message that I'm muted. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, so when we have a look at this slide, we are talking about the gender enrollment ratio in terms of males, females, and the level of education here. So in the year 2017, we see the highest transaction, that is the blue one. So there was a lot of enrollment in the primary section. Now, gradually we see in 2018-19, we see a decrease. 2019 was the most affected year because of the effects of the pandemic, while gradually we see that there is a recovery in the year 2020. So analysis here could be said that because of the pandemic or due to the financial losses, there wasn't any enrollment, but gradually parents did send their children to school. Moving to my next slide. We talk about a gender parity index, and which is very much important because the gender parity index for gross enrollment ratio in the tertiary education or the secondary education, or we talk about the primary education, it is the ratio of the women to men enrolled at tertiary level. So it is the ratio of women to men. And here we say that when we talk about the gender ratio, we say that if the gender parity index is less than 1, it shows an underrepresentation of girls. So have a look at this slide, which says that if we are looking at this level here, in terms of primary education, we are far beyond 1. That means we say that fine, the education level is very high. But if you just look at this 2 bars, which is in 2019 and 20, we see a decrease, but still it is a positive scenario where we see that the value is more than 1. The only way, in 2020, we got affected in the secondary education. This value is less than 1, which shows it's an underrepresentation of girls in terms of boys. And the most important thing that we need to be, actually happy about is that if you look at the tertiary sector, you see that every year the value is going on increasing. Well, here we might not see a drastic increase, but yes, it is an increase. So from 1.1, we have moved on to 1.3. So a positive scenario here again. Now we talk about the completion rate, because if we want to know the dropout rate, we need to know the school enrollment rate, then the completion rate. And therefore we look at this figure here and we say that the primary completion rate for males and females. So this figure gives you the blue is the male, the orange is the female, and the gray is the total. So here you will see that in the slide 2018 is blank because the data is unavailable. While in 2019, initially there was a trend where we had to say that the boys would complete the education more and the girls would gradually drop out. So here we look at the similar scenario here in the primary section, that boys are educating while gradually the girls actually even further drop out. That means they do not even complete their primary education. Have a look at the secondary education completion rate. Here we see the other scenario here, where we see that the girls complete the secondary education much more faster than the boys. So that means the boys are gradually dropping out at the secondary level.
Madam, sorry to disturb, but
Yeah.
now you have to conclude.
Okay, sir. Done. It's almost done. So when we talk about the dropout rate, here what I want to say is in the primary education, you find the males more completing the education here. Similarly, here you find that the boys now in the year 2020, the boys are actually dropping out, but the girls are completing their education. So what is the impact here of COVID-19 was either because of unemployment, their financial loss, they either be in the mental stress, poor academics, lack of interest, either early marriage, the death of the parents or the death of the child. That is why the reasons of these dropouts. So what are the measures that we can prevent further dropouts from school is We provide support to these children to address the unique requirements as financial aids, give them support, psychosocial support through counselors. We sensitize the parents on encouraging the children's holistic education. We also would increase the financial allocation for the public education sector and giving them extra classes to reduce the learning gap that had created because of this pandemic. The teachers also have to make an extra effort, that we say. And moreover, apart from the dropout policy, we should have a restorative policy, which is also necessary, which would ensure that the dropouts get a second opportunity to acquire the required necessary skills and the knowledge, which will give them more employment. For this, the students may be given readmission. And my last limitation would be that I didn't study the teacher-student ratio here, and the study is only limited to India. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I think that Bhomik sir, are you available?
Yes, sir. Now next is the presentation of Dr. Arup Bhomik from Mizoram University, State of Mizoram. Sir, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You can continue, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, ma'am. Very good afternoon to all and one. Myself, Arup Bhomik from Mizoram University. I am research scholar, continuing my PhD research under the supervision of Dr. N. Pramod Kumar. So I am presenting a topic on dissatisfaction of social science researchers amid COVID-19 outbreak. And Sir Pramod Kumar is co-author of this paper. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are audible, but please be a little bit louder.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So first of all, I would like to thank the organizer committee of this multidisciplinary national conference, Patpanhale College, Maharashtra. So for giving opportunity to first-time researchers like me to present a paper in such wonderful platform. So already the resource person and previous presenters they presented wonderfully on impact of COVID-19 outbreak in different sectors: economic, banking, organization, education, online education, and so on, dropouts. So my topic is here I am going to focus on higher education and how specifically how COVID-19 affected the research atmosphere, especially social sciences researchers, how social science researchers were affected, what are the challenges they have faced. So this study was conducted during the year of 2020. Directly, I will go to my objective to examine the challenges faced by social science researchers amid the COVID-19 outbreak. So this is my major objective. Concerning methodology, the present study employed a descriptive method and its analysis is qualitative. The study is delimited to examining the situation and problem faced by social science scholars only for the period of institutional lockdown, that is mostly 2020 March 2020 to November 2020.
Arup sir, now you unmute yourself. Arup sir, you unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, you can continue.
This study was conducted during the March 2020 to November 2020 during the institutional lockdown. So primarily the study is a scholarly reflection of the observed situation by the investigator, and the investigator conducted interview including 30 research scholars belonging to different central and state universities from India. Especially those are pursuing PhD and MPhil degrees. So as a means of interview are WhatsApp, Google Meet, Telegram, and telephonic conversation were taken due to pandemic situation. So now I'll come to the analysis part. So along with analyzing the challenges
The investigator here here highlighted some positive aspect also, like the study revealed some positive impact on the research atmosphere resulted from the COVID-19 crisis. The COVID-19 crisis had provided scope for extensive research activities and research to all disciplines, including science, social science, and humanities. There are many initiatives taken by government for the research projects on COVID-19 and its arising effects. ICSR also had invited proposals for the research projects on the COVID-19 crisis. The number of studies related to COVID-19 and its social impact increases daily in India and in worldwide. So it's having some positive aspect also in the field of research. The crisis has increased the collaborative learning opportunities to a great extent for the students, researchers, teachers, as well as for institutions. The student and scholar community got the opportunity to learn from any institution from any part of the globe. Further, institutions are enjoying the organization of online academics meetings, webinars, conferences, intellectual talks, workshop, induction programs, faculty development programs, etc., with the collaboration of other one or more institutions from country and abroad. So it's having some positive impact. It given move to offline to online mode of teaching and research also. So now I will reflect some challenges faced by research scholars or some negative impact of COVID-19 on social science researchers. So first one is sudden coma in research studies due to lockdown. As the researchers were stated that due to lockdown, they are unable to continue their research work, and they expressed like sudden coma came in their research studies. And while asking about their progress of the study, almost all the research scholars responded that they had zero or less progress in their respective research study. Secondly, break in movement of scholars overseas. Those who are studying in abroad, they are also unable to move to their study place or their universities due to COVID-19 and due to burden of traveling. Then thirdly, the field study was out of imagination. So social sciences are mainly deals with field study, and during this pandemic period, they were unable to visit their field. They were unable to do their field work, collection of data, etc., to progress their respective work. Then stop in developmental programs like workshop, seminar. Although webinar and online conferences were there, so there were stop in a face-to-face program. This is also one of the delimitation. Then stress for scholars. They were uncertain about their progress, and they were uncertain about their future, when they are going to finish their work, how they are going to contact with supervisor, etc., and when they are going to visit their university again. So they were facing some uncertainty, and this uncertainty can bring them to the situation of stress or anxiety. And then next one is economic crisis due to COVID-19. As previous presenters were already highlighted the economic impact of COVID-19. So almost all the economic activities were blocked, and those belongs to poor family background. They face economic crisis, and during this period, as I inquired some research scholars, their fellowship also, they were not receiving their fellowship on time. So they face economic crisis a lot. Then next one is irregularity of fellowship. Yes, even UGC, ICSR or NCRT fellowships were not so regular during that period. Then less communication with supervisor, as research scholars were highlighted that they are unable to contact with the research supervisor, and they are unable to clear their doubts in this concern. Then mental health issue, they face stress, anxiety, depression, confusion, and feeling of loneliness, boredom, anger were very common during that period. Then last one is wastage of valuable time. Most of the research scholars believe that the pandemic wasted more than 6 months of valuable time. Moreover, crisis disrupted their work plan and tentative schedule also. According to them, the period for their study will be long term due to pandemic. Although EGC has increased 6 months duration of the research period for the scholars who are in the submission stage, there is no provision declared for increasing the period for scholars who are in preliminary or middle stage of research. So these are some challenges faced by social science researcher. So these challenges are not now. The situation is little bit stable. Day by day, challenges are going to off, and researchers are enjoying their research, and they are trying to do their progress. So thank you. This is all about my presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Your presentation was indeed full of passion and priceless knowledge. Let us move ahead. After the commanding presentation of this technical session, I would like to continue the session with Dr. S. Mohammad Mumtaz Begum from Karikal, Pondicherry. It will be my honor to invite her to present her paper and share her intellectual words with us. Over to Dr. S. Mohammad Mumtaz Begum. Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Please go
Am
ahead.
I audible? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed my pleasure to participate in this one-day interdisciplinary national conference on the impact of COVID-19 on Indian education system. Presently, I'm presenting my paper on the impact of COVID-19 on Indian education system. I express my gratitude to Dr. S.S. Koth, Professor Convener, Professor P.A. Desai, Coordinator, for permitting me to present my paper. I also express my gratitude to Dr. Govind Russell, my colleague, for introducing me to this society. Thank you so much. My paper is on the impact of COVID-19 on Indian education system. Okay, I have divided my paper into introduction, how effective online education, online learning is, how do online certification add value to traditional academic learning, and the challenges we face in online learning. And at last, I talk about work from home and its drawbacks. And with that, I conclude. Now, let me start my paper, ma'am. COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant lockdown is
Madam,
yes,
hello, madam.
Sir? Yes.
Please share your PPTs if available.
No, I don't have PPT.
Okay,
sir.
okay. So,
I'm just
please.
presenting. Yes.
Okay. No.
COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant lockdown is a new experience for everyone, and this has made work from home.
So once again,
learning.
sorry to disturb.
Yes,
So please on your video if possible, so it will help to interact properly.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant lockdown is a new experience for everyone, and this has made work from home, online learning, and online teaching an imperative for several teachers, students, and industries. Now, EdTech has become a buzzword in the education sector. Online teaching and learning may even become a constant in the post-COVID future. What started as a short-term response to a crisis will likely to become an enduring digital transformation of higher education. In India, the government's decision on online programs speaks volumes about the gradual integration of online learning in the Indian education system. The present paper shares thoughts on online learning and the way ahead for students and teachers. Let us see how effective is online learning. Online learning can genuinely transform lives and bridge the opportunity divide by democratizing education. It also provides learners with the currency that connects them to career outcomes and offer a richer and more applied learning experience and employer-recognized credential. Online learning strongly complements the existing system and can help educational institutions scale up and broaden their reach. It helps the professionals to continue learning throughout their career and gain the latest skills set in the dynamic job market. Thus, online learning is the best solution during COVID-19 pandemic. We have seen a steep rise in the uptake of online courses by students and professionals. Enterprises too are turning to online learning platform to help employees for successfully changing to remote working, increase their digital readiness, and on the whole, online learning provides mental well-being during this particularly stressful time. Now, let me tell you about the value of online certification. The future of learning and the future of work is converging. There is a growing acceptance of online education credentials among enterprises, particularly for new age skills like data science, artificial intelligence, and more. But traditional models of education are insufficient to prepare people with the skill they need to thrive throughout their working lives. Today, more and more employees are looking up skill from their workforce and are accepting online certificate. Thus, online certification adds value to traditional academic learning. The question is whether we are equipped to change from traditional classroom to online learning. The majority of educational institutions in India follow the traditional teaching methodology of face-to-face classroom learning. However, campuses have already integrated the technical components of online learning in their curricula. High quality, relevant, and accurate content is readily available through online learning platform to support the transition towards blended learning. This means in the near future, even on campus programs, we will have substantiated online component. This will give way to a far more adaptive and personalized learning experience that will enable everyone, anywhere, to embrace lifelong learning. With this, we also have some challenges. There are some of the challenges we identified in online teaching and learning. Let me discuss. While online and blended learning seems to have gained acceptance in the country, internet connectivity and bandwidth issues still seem to be the big challenge that online education platforms need to face. Many parts of the country, especially non-urban areas, are still with limited access to high-speed internet. A lot of services are difficult to deliver from remote. Teaching to a certain extent can be done remotely, but it is not the same quality as teaching inside the classroom. For most teachers, shifting to online classes was rather sudden. With that move came a plethora of problems for which the teachers had to find solutions by themselves. The first problem to come up was the lack of appropriate devices such as laptop, Android phones, tablets, and webcams for conducting and attending classes online. The teachers and the students have to invest their own money to create that ambience through online teaching and attending classes online. Infrastructure such as computer, Android phones, internets are highly expensive. More than 70% of Indian students are in an unaffordable condition since the family incomes have gone down because of continuous lockdown. The mental stress that they are undergoing because of this is very high. Only a small percentage of the elite institutions and communities are able to enjoy the online education. Our college, the college in which I work, is of the second category. My college is not it is a government institution. And background is this: most of the students are from rural background who do not have even a mobile phone with internet facility. In education, one of the things that the college environment does is that it erases the socio-economic differences between the students when they come into the classroom. With online classes, we actually get a little glance of their homes, and suddenly the class divide becomes apparent. This disturbs the students, especially the poor students, mentally, and this makes them not to attend the class also, online class. This makes poor students to avoid the online classes. Now let me tell you about the drawbacks of work from home, whether it is a student or a teacher or an IT professional. Work from home certainly aggravates the already present divide like gender, migrants, native, etc. If a family has only one computer, it is highly probable that the man would get priority to use that computer. Women find it difficult to work from home because they are loaded with all kinds of household and domestic needs. Unless there is a major change in social norms in the coming 2 years, women who are more responsible for delivering domestic works are going to be that much more hard-pressed to combine it with their workplace responsibilities. As regards migrants, if there was enough work available in localities where they resided, not everybody would need to migrate. And if workers are not going to migrate, it affects the overall economic distribution. Work from home eliminates the actual human-to-human contact. Another big negative for work from home is that the home is not always a very happy place for everybody. Homes can also become a center of abuses. Many women and children, for many women and children, the home is the most unsafe place. By forcing people to be inside the home, we are really forcing them to be inside with their abuser. The pandemic has actually brought about this phenomenon, which UN Women has called it as a shadow epidemic. Whatever is the situation, the ability to face the crisis is at the individual's hands. When we wisely use this break, we will be benefited a lot. Parents, teachers, and elders should motivate the younger and openly talk to them about positives of their unfavorable situation. And we should find a way of changing the unfavorable into a favorable one. We should make them to realize their own responsibility towards them, to their family, and to the society at large. Conclusion: the increasing use of online and virtual platforms ensure the continuity of learning. Everything is happening for the well-being of the students so that they can stay safe at home. They can stay safe at home without getting affected by the life-threatening virus. We have to go through this pandemic situation together by providing education to every child. I conclude this paper that we have learned a lot from this unexpected sudden transition, and COVID-19 has made everyone to become strong, self-confident, self-reliant, and self-responsible. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Professor Samle.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Hello.
Sir, you are not audible, sir. Your voice is getting break. Hello.
Hello. Yes, ma'am.
No, the honorable principal of organizing college would like to say something. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Give only 10 minutes to each participant.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They are taking more time.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, ma'am?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
I would like to give a reminder to all the participants that the timing for a presentation is 10 minutes only. So try to conclude your presentation within the given time span only. It's a humble request from organizing side. Now, let us resume towards our next researcher and his paper presentation. For this, we have with us Professor M.K. Kelkar from State Maharashtra. It is now my privilege to ask him to present his research paper on this virtual platform. Over to him. Sir, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Whether am I
please go
audible?
ahead. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Please check, ma'am. My slides are moving.
Sorry, the first slide is visible. So you can continue.
Just wait a minute, ma'am. I'm trying.
Yes, sir, you can start, sir.
Otherwise, sir, stop sharing and please share once again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Just a second. Ma'am, is it visible?
It's not visible,
Hello.
sir. Hello.
Okay. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to express my thanks to the organizing committee of today's one-day national conference on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. Myself, Assistant Professor M.K. Kelkar from ICS College Khed. I want to present my paper on the topic and analysis of COVID-19 pandemic on education system in India with reference to higher education in India. We all know that this COVID-19 pandemic have almost devastated the economy of our country as well as all over the world. Almost every sector of the economy are seriously affected by this situation, and the rate of unemployment has reached to the mark of 8% in December 2021. More than 1 crore Indian becomes jobless due to this pandemic. The sectors like education, tourism, transportation, aviation, etc. are considerably affected. The GDP was dropped down to 7.3% in 2021, but now it is revived and expected to be just below 10%. As far as the education sector is concerned, all educational institutions were forced to shut down offline activity from March 2020 and were shifted towards the online mode. This has led to the various problems on part of faculty as well as teachers due to the lack of infrastructure or poor infrastructure facilities. Issue of poor internet connectivity in the remote areas of the country, it becomes difficult to conduct the online classes as well as to conduct the assessment of the students. Of course, due to the painstaking efforts from the teachers' fraternity in form of a technological adaptation and use of various platforms by them like YouTube, Zoom, Teachment, WhatsApp, Google, definitely help them to reach the student by one way or another. This is the objective of my study, to study the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on higher education system. Second objective is to study the role of internet technology in teaching, learning, evaluation process, especially during the pandemic period. To study the role of government of India during the COVID-19 pandemic in respect of higher education. To study the challenges in higher education in post-pandemic period. I have done my research with the help of a discussion with my peer faculty members in the education field, as well as with the help of the published data in different forms, including research papers, research articles, websites, newspapers at local as well as national levels. My findings are, first of all, I would like to the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on higher education system. The impact of COVID crisis on higher education system is unprecedented. From March 2020, all education institutions were forced to stop its offline session and were shifted toward online. Though the developed countries were well infrastructured and the developing countries like India not able or were not already to adapt the sudden changes because of the lack of infrastructure facilities in the interior and the remote areas of the country. Improper and insufficient infrastructure facilities to the country created problems for teaching as well as students community. The practical session could not head due to the sudden shift. Not the teachers, not the teaching and the practical part of the education was totally collapsed, but the assessment part was also become the new problem for the universities and the colleges. Due to the COVID crisis, there is another problem emerges, that is reducing admission of students because of the economic issues of their parents. Second findings I want to highlight, that is role of internet technology in a teaching learning process during the pandemic period. The emergence of education had put the restrictions on the mobility of the people and created various challenges to almost every sections of the society and every sectors of the economy, including higher educational sector. The traditional offline education system was totally collapsed, not only in our country, but across the world as well. The offline education mode was suddenly shifted towards the online education. Here, the actual role of internet technology started. Both the faculty and the students were very much familiar to the internet technology through WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. But the role of internet technology was slightly different here, as these applications were traditionally restricted to its use. But now, along with these applications, the applications like Zoom, Google Meet, Teachment were the mainly used platforms for imparting the online sessions. Now, I want to highlight the role of government during the COVID phase and the higher education. Government of India was very much keen and taking cautious steps in fighting with the pandemic situation right from the beginning of this pandemic. In the month of January 2020, various restrictions were put on by the government of India for controlling the spreading of the infection diseases, including the announcing of phase-wise lockdown, announcing of containment zones where the number of COVID patients were high, closing down the pilgrimage centers, banning or putting the restrictions on international travels to prevent the entry of virus over the national boundaries, banning or putting restrictions on social, political, religious, cultural meets, encouraging work from home for the people where possible, launching of Arogya Setu app for the contact tracing and connecting them regarding the COVID related health services, etc. and so on. Since the higher education institutions were fully closed from 16th March 2020 to prevent the spread of infections in the initial stage, in the initial period, the government of India, in association with the Ministry of Education and UGC, had taken various steps and decisions to ensure the continuity of education during the pandemic period, which includes issue of directives or guidelines to including the imparting the education through online mode, encouraging the use of Swayam platform, National Digital Library, Swayam Prabha, etc. to make available various additional learning resources to the faculty as well as to the students. Then the revising of academic calendar and conduct of UG as well as PG examinations through online mode. Various induction programs, faculty development programs, refresher courses were also allowed through online mode through the HRDCs all over the country. Next point I want to highlight, which is the changes before higher education post-pandemic period. Presently, according to the government sources, the vaccination drive have crossed the mammoth total of 185 crores in India. And because of its, the corona cases are also started decreasing day by day. In India, it has come down to 1,260 on 2nd of April 2022 and registered a highest recovery rate of 98.76%, which is a very good sign for almost all the sectors of the economy, including higher education institutions in the many states. The restrictions were also lifted and all activities were allowed to conduct with full strength. The big challenge is that once again shifting of online mode of education towards the offline mode of education. Various mental issues and social issues require to be tackled before normalizing the activities and making the teaching and learning impactful. This requires the arrangement of some sessions by psychological experts, yoga sessions, not only for the students community, but for the teaching community as well, who have suffered a lot during the pandemic period. This will really help them to get mentally stabilized and can focus on the focus and concentrate on the future activities. The university academicians should design the content of the syllabus in such a way so that there will be proper blending of theory and practical based approach, which requires industry academia collaboration, which will lead to reduce the gap between the education and the employment, which is created due to this pandemic. Here are some suggestions. Here are some conclusions from my end. Right to the education is fundamental right of every citizen of India, but due to the online mode of teaching, it has separated the students into two classes. One who are accessible to the education due to the availability of internet, and the other one who are beyond the internet access. Though the use of internet technology in teaching, learning and evaluation process is a need of modern times, but due to the lack of infrastructure facilities in interior part of the country of teaching. But because of this dark COVID experience, the government, universities, and the colleges are now well aware of the importance of building infrastructure facilities, even in the remote areas of the country, so that no student remain deprived due to the lack of facilities. Government should increase the expenditure on education, which is still just 3% of the GDP, which is very less compared to the other developed countries of the world. This requires rethinking, reframing, and rebuilding the whole education infrastructure throughout the nation for shifting, bringing the post condition to the new normal. These are my references for this paper. Thank you of you silent listening and patient listening, and thank you once again to the organizing committee for giving me opportunity to express my views. Thank you.
Sir. That was really an extraordinary presentation. Surely helped us to understand this topic. Now, the moment has come again. We are going to invite next selected enthusiastic researcher for his oral presentation. For that, I would like to invite upon this virtual platform the 9th researcher, Professor Lankesh Gajbhiye from Patpanhale Education Society's Patpanhale Arts, Commerce and Science College, Maharashtra. Over to Lankesh Gajbhiye, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Professor Lankesh Murlidhar Gajbhiye from Host College, subject Business Economics. I am going to present my paper in. Hello. Hello, I am audible. Hello.
Yes, sir.
I am
Yes,
going
sir.
to present my paper in.
Please continue.
Yeah. In national language. The topic of my research paper. आज की इस राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी में मैं अपना अनुसंधान पेपर प्रस्तुत करने जा रहा हूँ, जिसका पीपीटी तैयार नहीं है. जस्ट आई एम गोइंग थ्रू माय पेपर, जिसका शीर्षक है कोविड महामारी के दौरान अनाथ हुए बच्चों पर असर एवं सरकारों की भूमिकाएं. इस पेपर में कुछ मैंने नई शब्दावलियां डाली है, जैसे कि आपदा, त्रासदी, मूल अधिकार, अभिभावक, पोषण, बचपन बचाओ आंदोलन, बाल स्वराज, कोविड पोर्टल, टास्क फोर्स, पुनर्वास, वात्सल्य योजना आदि. इस पेपर को बनाते वक्त कुछ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स मेरे सामने थे, जैसे कि दुनिया में आए कोरोना महामारी का जायजा लेना, कोरोना महामारी का बच्चों पर हुआ जो असर है उसका जायजा लेना, कोरोना महामारी के संकट में झुलझे बच्चों के लिए केंद्र सरकार की पहल को जांचना, वैसे राज्य सरकारों की ही पहल को जांचना। नेक्स्ट, कोरोना महामारी के संकट में झुलसे बच्चों के लिए एनजीओ ने क्या किया है उनकी भूमिका जांचना। और लास्ट में, इस महामारी के संकट में जो बच्चे आए हैं उनके लिए कुछ उपाय सुझाना। तो इंट्रोडक्शन के तौर पे, आपदाएं चाहे प्राकृतिक हो या मानव जनित, वो अपने साथ महाविनाश ही लाती है, ये इतिहास है, और अपने पीछे छोड़ जाती है अनगिनत कथाएं, कहानियां, वो सुखद कथ्य ही नहीं हो सकती। एक राज्य अपने कुशल नेतृत्व, दृढ़ इच्छा शक्ति, बेहतर रणनीति के द्वारा इन आपदाओं को कुशलता पूर्वक पार कर सकता है। कोरोना के रूप में आई अब की ये सबसे बड़ी त्रासदी का सर्वाधिक प्रभाव अपने देश के नहीं पूरे जगत के बच्चों पर पड़ा है, जिनके माँ बाप दोनों इस आपदा की भेंट चढ़ गए। वे बच्चे बेसहारा अनाथ हो गए। इस आपदा ने ऐसे अनाथ बच्चों के भविष्य को अंधकारमय बना दिया। इनमें मानव जीवन को ऐसी तबाही के मंजर में ला खड़ा कर दिया है कि जहां उनके सभी रास्ते बंद हुए प्रतीत होते हैं। बच्चे देश के भविष्य होते हैं, उनकी सारी राहें बंद हो चुकी है। ऐसे में सवाल ये उठता है कि ऐसी परिस्थिति में सरकारों की भूमिका क्या होनी चाहिए? सरकारों का अपने नागरिकों के प्रति दायित्व क्या होना चाहिए? इन प्रश्नों का सीधा सा जवाब है, सरकारों का बिना सोचे समझे और बिना समय गवाए अपने नागरिकों, विशेषकर उन अनाथ बच्चों का भार अपने ऊपर ले। अन्यथा सरकारों का निर्माण का औचित्य ही क्या है? क्योंकि सरकारों का उद्भव ही ऐसे जरूरतमंदों की सेवा के लिए हुआ है, जो स्वयं की सहायता कर पाने में सक्षम न हो। गंभीरता को देखते हुए, जो निर्बल है, ऐसी परिस्थितियों की गंभीरता को देखते हुए हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं ने ऐसे अनाथ बच्चों की देखभाल, उनकी शिक्षा का जिम्मा सरकारों को दिया है। इसे मूल अधिकार की श्रेणी में लाकर सरकार को उसका संरक्षक बना दिया है। सरकार के ऊपर तो दोहरी मार पड़ी है, वैसे ही बच्चों के ऊपर भी पड़ी है। एक तरफ अनेक बच्चों के ऊपर से माता पिता का साया उठ गया है। संसाधनों के अभाव में बच्चे शिक्षा और पोषण से लगातार दूर हो रहे। परिणाम स्वरूप उन्हें बाल ट्रैफिकिंग, बाल मजदूरी, यौन शोषण की यातना झेलनी पड़ रही है। याद रहे कि कोरोना की दूसरी लहर में अनाथ हुए बच्चों और उनके अभिभावकों की मदद करने की पहल करने वाले में नोबेल शांति पुरस्कार विजेता एवं बाल अधिकार कार्यकर्ता कैलाश सत्यार्थी सबसे आगे थे। सत्यार्थी के नेतृत्व में उनके संगठन बचपन बचाओ आंदोलन ने ऐसे बच्चों और उनके अभिभावकों की कानूनी और मानसिक रूप से मदद करने के उद्देश्य से 24 घंटे का हेल्पलाइन नंबर शुरू किया। सरकार से भी बेसहारा हुए बच्चों की आर्थिक सहायता करने की अपील की, जिसके बाद सरकार भी सक्रिय हुई और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने ऐसे बच्चों की हर तरह से मदद करने के लिए कई घोषणाएं की। लेकिन हाल में राष्ट्रीय बाल अधिकार संरक्षण आयोग ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट को इन बच्चों से संबंधित जो जानकारी दी वो चिंताजनक है। इस आयोग ने बताया है कि अप्रैल 2020 से अब तक 1,47,000 बच्चों ने कोविड-19 और अन्य कारणों से अपने माता पिता को खोया है। इनमें से 77,000 लड़के और 70,000 लड़कियां हैं, जिनमें 4 ट्रांसजेंडर बच्चे शामिल हैं। सरकार की संवैधानिक जिम्मेवारी है कि कोविड से प्रभावित बच्चों की शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य और बेहतर पारिवारिक वातावरण को सुनिश्चित करे। ऐसे बच्चों को बिना देरी सरकारी योजना से जोड़ने का काम किया जाना चाहिए, जिससे सही समय पर इन योजनाओं का लाभ बच्चों और उनके परिवारों को मिले। अगर कोई बच्चा अपरिहार्य कारण से स्कूल से दूर हो गया है तो उसे दोबारा शिक्षा से जोड़ा जाना चाहिए। ऐसे समय में जब ज्यादातर बच्चों ने माता पिता खो दिए है तो जरूरी है कि ऐसे बच्चों की पहचान करके उन्हें पारिवारिक वातावरण देने की कोशिश की जाए, ताकि ये मायूस न हो, जीवन में आगे बढ़ सके। इन बच्चों के लिए तत्काल काउंसलर और मेंटरों की व्यवस्था की जानी चाहिए। कोरोना महामारी के चलते जो बच्चे अनाथ हो गए हैं, उनके देखभाल की सारी जिम्मेदारी में सरकारों की भूमिका अहम हो जाती है। सरकारें ही उनके माँ बाप की भूमिका में आ जाते हैं। एक लोकतांत्रिक राज्य को इस बात का विशेष ख्याल रखना पड़ता है कि वे बच्चों को उनके अनाथ होने का एहसास न होने दे, ये उनकी नैतिक जिम्मेवारी। तो कोरोना के दौर में अनाथ हुए बच्चों को केंद्र सरकार से क्या मिलेगा, कौन सी ऐसी योजनाएं केंद्र सरकार ने लाई है? तो अनाथ बच्चों को 18 साल की उम्र के बाद मासिक भत्ता मिलेगा। 23 साल के होने पर पीएम केयर्स फंड से 10 लाख रुपए की निधि मिलेगी। इन बच्चों को निःशुल्क शिक्षा दी जाएगी, हायर एजुकेशन के लिए लोन दिया जाएगा और उसका ब्याज पीएम केयर फंड से दिया जाएगा। आयुष्मान भारत योजना के तहत 18 साल तक 5 लाख रुपए तक का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस दिया जाएगा। इस वर्ष 10 वर्ष से कम उम्र के बच्चों का नजदीकी केंद्रीय विश्वविद्यालय या निजी स्कूलों में नामांकन कराया जाएगा। जो बच्चे 11 से 18 साल के बीच के हैं उन्हें सैनिक स्कूल और नवोदय विद्यालय जैसे आवासीय स्कूल में नामांकित किया जाएगा। प्रधानमंत्री ने ऐसे बच्चों के लिए घोषणा करते हुए कहा है कि बच्चे का भविष्य है, उनमें अपार संभावनाएं मौजूद होती है। देश ऐसे बेसहारा बच्चों की मदद व उनके संरक्षण के लिए वह सब कुछ करेगा जो उसके समग्र विकास के लिए आवश्यक होगा, ताकि वे आगे चलकर एक परिपक्व नागरिक बन पाने में सक्षम हो सके। प्रधानमंत्री ने इस बात का भी भरोसा दिया कि वह केंद्र के साथ साथ राज्यों को भी इन अनाथ बच्चों की मदद के लिए प्रोत्साहित करेंगे। अब यह हो गए केंद्र के, अभी राज्य सरकारों की क्या भूमिका है इन अनाथ बच्चों के बारे में? तो केंद्र सरकार की तरह विभिन्न राज्यों के द्वारा भी कोरोना महामारी के कारण अनाथ हुए बच्चों के लिए कल्याणकारी योजनाओं की घोषणा की गई। केंद्र सरकार समेत कई राज्यों की सरकारों ने अनाथ बच्चों को घोषणा करते हुए जिसमें उनका भविष्य बेहतर हो सकेगा, जिसमें उत्तर प्रदेश, बिहार, मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात, उत्तराखंड, हरियाणा, तमिलनाडु, असम, कर्नाटक, त्रिपुरा, झारखंड आदि राज्य अग्रसर है। इन योजनाओं में किसी राज्य द्वारा बाल सेवा योजना चलाई गई, जिसमें बच्चों के वयस्क होने तक उसकी देखभाल करने वालों को 4,000 रुपए प्रति माह की व्यवस्था की गई है। साथ ही 10 वर्ष से कम आयु के बच्चों के जिनका कोई नहीं है, उन्हें राज्य सरकार द्वारा संचालित बाल शिशु गृह में रखा जाएगा। बालियों की शिक्षा व्यवस्था का प्रबंध कस्तूरबा गांधी जैसे आवासीय विद्यालयों में तथा राजकीय बालिका गृहों के माध्यम से किया जाएगा। इनके अतिरिक्त वे बालिकाओं जो विवाह योग्य है उनके लिए 1,01,000 की सहायता राशि की व्यवस्था कहीं राज्य सरकार द्वारा की गई है। कोई सरकारें बाल सहायता योजना के तहत 18 साल होने तक 1,500 रुपए देगी। कोई सरकारें अनाथ बच्चों की 21 साल की उम्र तक फ्री शिक्षा और 3,000 रुपए हर महीने देंगे। अनाथ बच्चों को रोजगार से पूर्व प्रशिक्षण भी मिलेगा। अनाथ बच्चों को सरकारी नौकरियों में 5% आरक्षण भी मिलेगा। 10 साल से बड़े बच्चों को रिहायशी स्कूलों में रखा जाएगा। 10वीं पास करने वाले बच्चों को लैपटॉप या टैबलेट मिलेगा। 21 साल की लड़कियों को 1 लाख रुपए मिलेंगे। इस प्रकार हम देखते हैं कि कोविड के कारण अनाथ हुए बच्चों की सहायता करने में केंद्र एवं राज्य दोनों की सरकारों ने सकारात्मक कदम उठाए हैं। इन सब के बावजूद कई नीति नियताओं द्वारा इस संबंध में सहायता के बदले दी जाने वाली आर्थिक मदद को देश की अर्थव्यवस्था पर अतिरिक्त बोझ पड़ने की बात कहकर हमने निम्न सोच का परिचय ही दिया है, जबकि उन्हें यह बात बखूबी पता होनी चाहिए कि जनता ने उन्हें अपना प्रतिनिधि किस कार्य के लिए बनाया है। एक राज्य का जन्म ही इसलिए हुआ है कि वह अपने नागरिकों की जरूरतों का ख्याल रखे और उनके साथ सामाजिक न्याय की अवधारणा को मौजूद करे। इस सब के बाद मैं निष्कर्ष पर पहुंचता हूं। अनाथ बच्चों का भविष्य सुरक्षित रहे, उनका समुचित विकास हो, इसके लिए केंद्र एवं राज्य सरकार पर तमाम प्रकार की घोषणाएं और योजनाएं बनाई गई, लेकिन हमें देखना यह होगा कि यह मात्र घोषणा है ही बनकर न रह जाए, वरन लाभार्थी तक पहुंचे भी। इसके लिए सरकारों का विशेष निगरानी तंत्र का निर्माण करना होगा, नहीं तो भारत में योजनाओं का लागू कराने के स्तर पर उनका प्रदर्शन कैसा ही है, किसी से छुपा नहीं है, क्योंकि ये योजनाएं अनाथ हुए बच्चों के भविष्य निर्माण से संबंधित है। अतः इन योजना के क्रियान्वयन में बरती गई शिथिलता उनके भविष्य को अंधकारमय बना सकती है। सरकारों को इसमें जिम्मेवार सामाजिक कार्यकर्ताओं, एनजीओ इस क्षेत्र में कार्य कर रहे उनको भी जोड़ना होगा, ताकि इन योजनाओं का लाभ बच्चों तक प्रभावी तरीके से पहुंच सके। प्राय देखा जाता है कि बच्चों के साथ प्रकार के अपराधों को अंजाम दिया जाता है, जिसमें भिक्षावृत्ति, बाल श्रम, यौन हिंसा प्रमुख है। इन बच्चों के संदर्भ में ऐसे अपराधों में वृद्धि की संभावना से इनकार नहीं किया जा सकता। बच्चों के साथ ऐसे अपराधों में वृद्धि न हो, इसके लिए केंद्र एवं राज्य दोनों को मिलकर एक व्यापक रणनीति पर काम करने की जरूरत है। इस प्रकार हम देखते हैं कि कोविड महामारी ने इन अनाथ बच्चों के जीवन में जो गहरे घाव दिए हैं, वे घाव किसी परियोजना से तो भरे नहीं जा सकते, किंतु प्रभावी रणनीति और जिम्मेदारी से उन्हें कम जरूर किया जा सकता है। बच्चे किसी भी देश की अनमोल निधि है, उनमें अपार संभावनाएं विद्यमान है, अतः उनकी सुरक्षा व्यवस्था की समग्र जिम्मेवारी सरकार की होती है। उन्हें अपने कर्तव्य से पीछे नहीं हटना चाहिए, ताकि उन बच्चों को ये एहसास हो सके कि हमारा भविष्य एक मजबूत और जिम्मेदार सरकार के हाथों में है। ये मेरा पेपर बनाने में जो मैंने संदर्भ लिया है, 3 वेबसाइट का सहारा लिया है, उनके साथ साथ लोक सत्ता वृत्तपत्र और प्रतियोगिता दर्पण का सहारा लिया है। थैंक यू।
Madam, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I think that last researcher is going to present now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gajbir sir, for sharing your insightful knowledge with us. We will move ahead with the last presentation of this technical session. For that, I would like to invite Professor Rohini Otari from Maharashtra State. Over to Professor Rohini, madam.
Yes, I'm audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Good afternoon, everyone. To all dignitaries and first of all, I thank you, Coach sir, and our principal of Patpanhale School College that giving us opportunity to express to present this research paper. And even I will also like to express my gratitude towards all analytics organizer, convener of this conference of providing this opportunity to present my research paper research paper work in front of you all. Now I share my. I will share my.
We are not. We are not listening. Not listening.
Hello. Hello.
Loudly, please.
Okay, sir.
Not listening. Loudly, please.
Otari ma'am, will you please be a little bit louder?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Now I share my screen. Hello, ma'am. Can my screen is sharing? Are you able to see my window?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Your screen is visible. Please continue.
Okay. The title of my impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on micro, small, and medium enterprises in Chipadul, Ratnagiri district, and their negativity among the peoples. Before I explain my PPT, I want to say something about that research paper. That as I am a local person, month of flood and even second wave, even the second wave will start their business. Actually, my network connection is poor, ma'am.
Please continue, ma'am. Please try to be a little bit louder.
Hello.
Hello, Rohini ma'am.
Hello.
Please try to be louder, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And please try to finish your presentation within 10 minutes. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, within 10 minutes.
Okay, please continue.
Yes. All these things will encourage me to doing this research paper and the search remedies which will to the people of Chipur. The second slide of my paper, that is a keywords, that COVID-19, challenges of businesses, negativity among the people, lack of financial policy, imbalance of cash flow and sales volume, and yes, the less government support too. The variable of the study is that the study is univariate in nature, and the variable referred in the study is impact of pandemic in business of people and mentality of entrepreneurs into fast moving relation with sales volume and cash flow and less profit too. In next slide, I will represent that research gap fulfilled by this study to explore flexible financial policy for children entrepreneur for any challenges of business. Second one, that to gain better understanding of digitalization and use of technology for increase their sales volume and promote the business. Next one, that is the objective of study. The objective of study is basically to help entrepreneurs to find out the best way using financial policy for effective and efficient performance. Second objective of that study is to study the recent financial policy and strategy adopted by the small entrepreneur located in Chipun in response to emergencies. Even have to compare current financial health of small entrepreneurs before onset of pandemics to propose major rescue management or of financial crisis due to pandemic like flood, tsunami, and landslide. Detailed research methodologies. The methodology of the study is both statistical and analytical in nature and discuss the key benefit of entrepreneur. Sources of data. Yes, the study used primary data for the analysis of overall impact of pandemic on entrepreneur of different city, and the study used secondary data also. Sampling techniques. The target population is people of all ages, gender, work status, and household across Chipun city. The sample is selected through simple random sampling method. 1100 respondent has been taken a sample size. 200 were from owner of firm, 850 were from others in city who resumed their business. Just a minute, sir. Actually, I shared something different PPT presentation.
Hello, Otari ma'am, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Continue. So result of the study and discussion, that is questionnaire result. More than 70% of small business did not have disaster recovery framework in case when COVID-19 struck. 850 out of 3,900 firm experienced temporary close down between the outbreak of the pandemic and the time of survey. Even they mentioned that if they have financial training and coaching, they will improve their business in pandemic. This pandemic and natural disasters, because of natural disasters, people saw lack of motivated as they lost their business, their household thing, and also even they use their saving for survival business. This will increase the negativity among the people. Even Chipun reduce employment and sales revenue in the first few months after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. The reduction in the employment was, of course, more served for the employment of non-permanent employment. Chipun entrepreneur also faced net operating profit of small-scale entrepreneur did not change even during the disaster. So it's needed flexible financial policy which applicable to all kind of business. They were need to take advantages of single facility which is provided by banking sectors to do proper support to these entrepreneurs to settle down the business. Even MSME tend to prefer tax payment deferral, and lack of government support is also here. So MSME that prefer tax related supports were more likely to receive such a supportive, and that those they prefer loan related support were more likely to receive such a support. Even I conclude this PPT that the aim of this study to understand the essential financial policies in business during the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. The result from the survey clearly show the entrepreneur in Chipun city is having lots of problems with COVID-19. Even the moral is also less due to health crisis and business crisis. They need to follow crisis management too, and they need to implement financial policies. The important thing is that they're having a lack of government support to overcome in pandemic situation. I want to mention here Chipron city facing 2,000 crore losses according to all household plus business, but government only support 3 crores only. So this will mention here that the lack of government support to the all entrepreneur and household too. Thank you very much once again to giving me opportunity to present my PPT or research paper. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your hard work and wish you a great future ahead. Now, I would like to hand over technical session to the Honorable Chairperson, Dr. Chandrasekhar Salunke sir, for his remark. Over to Salunke sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thanks to Managing Committee of the Patpanhale Education Society, as well as all teacher fraternity. It is a really valuable interaction with all of the researcher. The theme is mainly concerned to that economic impact, but we cannot ignore the social impact. And if we'll go through this overall various paper presented, some researchers have also touched that issue. It is national conference, and I would like to say that it is a true sampling that organizing committee has selected only 10 researchers and different corner of the country. So from Haryana to Mizoram, Karnataka, as well as central part of India. So it's and most of the teachers as well as researchers, I will say that here, they have tried to bring out their findings in proper manner. It's true that there are sincere efforts. So first, I would like to say that 10 paper are here presented here by the researchers. Issues concerned to the impact of COVID-19 on education system as well as construction industries. Same time, some researchers have also tried to touch up with that gender issue, gender disparity, and how that genders, especially women candidates, have suffered in these education systems. Especially, I would love to give the reference of one important paper that because I have seen that as a academician that the students, idle students, we can say that the most of idle students, they have suffered a lot of in this education system in this scenario, especially in this COVID-19. Same issue that Kajvia said represented about the issue of orphan students due to this COVID-19 that we have seen that this is they are the main victim of these issues. So I would like to thanks all researchers, this especially all researchers are enjoyed their taken their full time, 10 minutes, because generally we have seen that we are asked to the researcher to conclude their presentation within 5 minutes or 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. But here most of researchers have taken 10 minutes. So it was really nice presentation from their side. So I would like to thanks once again because I know that the time limit. So I will follow that time limits. At the last, I would like to appeal or research. I would like to appeal that it should not be only your paper in journal format. So it is my appeal to all researchers, keep continue your research work, make proper valuable search to the concerned authorities and do practically wherever is possible, because research can give the proper solution. Because we have seen that there are a lot of problems were there, but behind each and every problem, there are a lot of opportunities. And we have seen that again, we are going to reset each and everything. Now we are going to online to offline. Economy is also on the way. People have suffered lots, but at the same time, we have learned a lot of things. So thanks once again to give me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. Chandrasekhar Salunke sir for presiding over this technical session and offering excellent evaluative remarks on the presentation of research papers by different participants from each nook and corner of our country. I hereby would like to declare that this technical session comes to an end here only. I would like to remind all the participants that this national e-conference is going on Zoom platform as well as the live streaming on YouTube platform also. Now let us move towards the validatory session. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. Now a time has come for the validatory session for this national e-conference. Let us move ahead with a speech by Honorable Patron Sri Bhalachandra Chavan sir, the President of Patpanhale Education Society. He is a role model for all of us to imitate for his candid deeds for noble cause. For that, I would like to invite Professor P.A. Desai to introduce our Patpanhale Education Society's honorable patron, founder, and a speaker of this national e-conference valedictory session to you all. Over to Professor P.A. Desai.
Hello, good afternoon to all of you. In this national conference, there is our prior duty to introduce to our Balchandraji Chavan sir, because only because of him and his support, we arranged so many activities like this national conference. Our Patpanhale Education Society was established in 1962 by late Dr. Tatyasaheb Nathu, the then MLA of Guhagar constituency. Thereafter, Sri Bhalachandraji Chavan sir as appointed as a president of this society in the year 1988. That time, he was working as a deputy commissioner in the Department of Regional Transport, Government of Maharashtra. At that time, keeping in mind the educational inconvenience being faced by the students of these rural and remote areas, he envisioned the need of providing KG to PG education in this area. When he assumed the office of president, there was only 2 high schools providing education in Marathi medium from 5th to 10th standard. After assuming the office of president, this society, under his lead, the society established junior college with arts, commerce, and science faculties, as well as after there, Patpanhale Arts, Commerce, and Science College were established in 1992. Patpanhale Education Society is working with now a one senior college providing BA and BCom and also MCom courses, 2 junior colleges, 2 secondary high schools, and 1 English medium high school with arts, commerce, and science faculties. In this way, he is materialized his vision of providing education from KG to PG. By doing so, he is provided educational facilities to the students belonging to this rural and remote area. Under his leadership, Patpanhale Education Society is way going towards bright future. I would like to invite to Sri Bhalchandraji Chavan Sahib to express the views about this conference. Chavan sir.
All the resource persons, the principal, all the participants and others. I am extremely happy that Patpanhale Education Society, Patpanhale Arts, Commerce and Science College is conducting national level conference on the theme of impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. I am very much impressed by the speeches of all the person, active participants of all the participants, principal and all the staff of the Patpanhale Arts, Commerce and Science College. I came to know that it is the first national conference being conducted by the college. I hope more and more such programs will be conducted by the college in the day to come. As the president of the Patpanhale Education Society and also the behalf of all the governing body members, I assure cooperation and support for all such creative activities of the college. I personally feel that though such programs, the college will move fast toward the direction of perfection and it will be known as the ideal institution in the day to come. Principal Dr. Rajiv Yadav and his staff deserve the best of my thanks for the planning and conducting this program. All the best to one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your enthusiastic message on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy on the occasion of valedictory session of this national e-conference. We are always blessed to receive your meticulous guidance in all the spheres of our academic endeavors. We are overwhelmed by your guidance of this valedictory session of national e-conference. Thank you once again, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the most awaited session of today, vote of thanks. We are so grateful to all of you for your virtual presence on both the platforms for this national e-conference. Dr. K.R. Sindhe is going to offer the vote of thanks of this national e-conference and wrap it up. Over to Dr. Sindhe. नाही इथे इथे आहे सर, इथे नाही इथे कुठेही नाही.
हा इथे हे त्याच्यात फक्त असतील
हे तीनच ओपन आहेत सर. इथे कुठे आहे? बसा सर. आणि व्हिडिओ
Okay. Respected Dr. Sanjay Jagtap sir, respected Dr. Alok Kumar Chakrawal sir, respected Dr. R.G. Allagi sir, Honorable Bhalchandra Chavan sir, Principal Dr. R.G. Jadhav sir, all the fellow participants in this national conference, my fellow colleagues and students. Now over to the last leg of this conference, the vote of thanks. At the very outset, I am thankful to Honorable Sri Bhalchandra Chavan sir, the President of Patpanhale Education Society, for delivering a valedictory speech in this conference and thereby inspiring us all. With all my obedience, I would like to state that you are the source of inspiration for all of us. My heartfelt thanks to you once again, sir. Secondly, I would like to offer my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Sanjay Jagtap sir, Regional Joint Director, Higher Education Konkan Region Panvel, for having delivered a keynote address and thereby inspiring us all. Sir, heeding to our request, you have kept aside your official work and attended this program. We all are highly indebted to you. I am extremely thankful to Professor Alok Kumar Chakrawal sir, Vice Chancellor of Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, for devoting his and offering his speech. In his absence, Dr. Vadavadgi sir has offered delivered a speech. I am also thankful to you. I am also thankful to Dr. R.G. Allagi sir, Director Basveshwar Vidyavrata Sangh's Institute of Management Studies, Bagalkot, Karnataka State, for having delivered a thorough, thought-provoking speech in this program. Needless to say that, sir, your speech has definitely met the informational needs of all the participants. Sir, I once again offer my heartfelt thanks to you. My heartfelt thanks are due to Dr. Chandrasekhar Salanke sir of ICS College Khed for having presided over the technical and presentation session of this conference. Sir, you have nicely evaluated the presentation of papers by the concerned participants and offered your excellent remarks and suggestions. I am once again thankful to you. I am thankful to Dr. R.G. Jadhav sir, our beloved principal, who has played a key role in planning and implementation of this conference. Sir, you have played an instrumental role in guiding us at every stage of planning and implementation of this conference. I individually and also on behalf of all the concerned with the conference, I am thankful to you. I am also thankful to researchers, academicians, and brothers and sisters of teaching fraternity for having wholeheartedly participated in this conference. I am thankful to you all for your presence and participation in the interactive session of this conference. I am also thankful to Mr. Bhosle and Mr. Jadhav of ICS College Khed for extending technical support in conducting this conference. And I am also thankful to Dr. S.S. Khoth, convener of this conference, and Sri T.A. Desai, co-convener of this conference, my teaching and non-teaching staff colleagues, and also our students and others for their efforts and cooperation in conducting this conference. All the participants are hereby requested to fill up and submit the feedback by opening the link. The link is provided on WhatsApp groups and also in the chat box. Lastly, I deeply appeal you all to extend your cooperation and active participation if and when we conduct such programs in future. I am thankful to you for having given me an opportunity to offer vote of thanks. With this, I hereby declare that this program comes to an end here only. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
sir. Now today's function is end up now. I ask all the participants to leave the meeting, please. And feedback link has given in the chat box and also on our WhatsApp groups. I request please kindly fill up that feedback. Okay, thank you, sir. Leave.
Amit sir. Amit sir. Yes, sir. Conference is over now, and you may end the meeting. Okay, now. Okay. A lot of thanks from our side, sir. Oh, thank you, sir.